the fun part, just double checking everything on my phones. But it's been nice having a few days off. I will say that.
Yeah, I've had this whole week off. I've gotten a lot of shit that I've had to do, so although it feels like it was nice to get things done, but I'm still, I need three more shirts, or else I'm not going to be able to go to work next week. So I had till Sunday. That's what I tell
You're like,
myself.
I got till Sunday to do this. Yeah,
Like Sarah's working tomorrow from 9 to 5, so she won't be home till after 5 o'clock. So maybe I'll motivate, and who knows? That's what I tell myself.
yeah. I think tomorrow Saturday, after I do we have I forgot the word. I hate to say auditions, but the tryouts and the draft for the football, the flag football. Then I think I got to do some grocery shopping. I
Do you
thought about
grade
doing it
these
this.
kids? Like, do you have like a clipboard and you're
I
sitting there like
Yes,
a
we do have a
fucking.
clipboard. We do have that, and it is so weird. No, here's why it's so weird grading. So, all right, before we officially start this podcast, because I know now we're live
Yes.
and we're doing everything like that. But yeah, so we got. I don't know if I told you the story, but we are. I'm just going to share the story with you again. If I repeat myself, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
So last year, my friend Brian, who I've known since 9 years old, his boys who are like my nephews, were doing flag football. I happened to be off this day. I was like, hey, so the day before, I'm like, you want to hang out? It's like, hey, yeah, my boys have tryouts. And I said, oh, come with, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, we can hang out, do whatever kind of thing. And so we were there. Now, there is something on the checklist when you sign up your kids. If you're interested in coaching, you can be an assistant coach, blah, blah, blah. But somehow this league was down a couple coaches at the last second. So
As
his
always.
youngest already had his tryouts, and then we had an hour in between. So we went to get like little breakfast muffins and then came back. And they're calling out his name. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Now, his oldest has already played this season for like 3, 4 years. I'm thinking, oh, maybe he's on the same team. But it turns out they asked him if he can coach and not assist. And he was like, obviously, he said yes. He comes back with the clipboard, hence bring it back full circle to what you asked me. And he's like, dude, I forgot my glasses. You're my assistant. You're helping me out. And I'm like, shit. So I have the pen and I have the clipboard. And obviously, first time we were thrown into this, not knowing, like, okay, we've played, we know how so it starts off. Everyone does like a race, not a race, but like they send two at a time and they time it. I forget the distance, so I was like, I'm just gonna write down the speed. So how fast they announce
Hmm.
the things. I'm like, I don't know what else to say.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Then you watch. They do three different routes. They do basically like a in, a corner, and an out. And it's like bang, bang, bang. So it was basically me and Brian, instead of not, we weren't really looking if they could catch the ball. I mean, yes, that would help, but it was like how well they were running the routes. So like our grading system, it was like up arrow, like medium arrow, like, okay. So, because we didn't know what to do. We were just like, on the fly, like we'll just do this. If we see three up arrows, they ran their routes great. If we saw something a little extra, we make notes. Like one girl who ended up being on our team we drafted, like she jumped up for the ball, like she was aggressive. We're like, shit, we like this, and she had a little height to her too, so we're like, all right.
Hmm.
So it was just like, kind of little extra stars. Then they throw three passes. You can't judge anyone can have a good throw, so we were just trying to figure it out. And there was one kid that we saw that had like an amazing arm for the age. And so yeah, they were kind of, he was like, you could just see there was velocity. But we're like we gotta get this kid for our, we wanted him for our first pick. Turned out he was a coach's son. So anyhow, so we're just kind of like, I'm like, what do we do? Oh, so it was just like, he's like, okay, run play. So that we might grade a little bit differently, because some kids who threw decently, when you get them to practice, like, oh, they can't really throw as well as we thought. But we did end up having two QBs, so that way we can flip flop a little bit. And it was fun. It was fun getting out there. Playing football with the kids and stuff like that, teaching. And it was an experience. Me and Brian have talked about this for a long time, even like 10, 15 years ago, after because we played football together, flag football, from like '02 when Keeley was born to like '07. So we did like 10 seasons in a five, because we did spring and fall.
Wow.
And we won like '04. We won like the championship in New Hampshire. So, we've played and we, understand a lot of the rules of the game, though there are some rules that are different that we get used to. But afterwards, we always talked about coaching, and we were more talking about coaching Little League baseball, because me and Brian played Little League as kids. We did like 4 or 5 years together,
Sure.
against each other. And that was like, I'm like, that would be so fun. But then this is when I think Blockbuster was going from franchise to corporate. My schedule is tough because I'm like, if I can't, I told him like I don't want to commit unless I can commit, and that was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
My schedule, and then finally I'm like, oh, my schedule's free. Then his was kind of like, you know, not freed up. So it just never happened. So when this fell in our laps, I told my because we were talking. I'm like, with the post office, there are some Sundays I was like, I told him, you're the coach. I mean, obviously he was the coach. I said, he asked if I wanted to run the defense. I said, you need to be out there. I said, if something happens to me and I can't make a Sunday, these kids need consistency. I will be there for every practice, whatever, in the evenings. But I'm like, and I made most of the Sunday games. There was only, I think, one game I couldn't make, and that was just because
Right.
another Hollis needed help, and I had to go help them. And I was like, fuck, because my work has helped me out. They said, just take a long lunch until the game's over, and I've done that. I've worked Sunday morning, clock out, go to Hull. I literally take the mail truck to Hollis, go help. But yeah, so I'm an assistant, but it's been fun. But yeah, so tomorrow we're picking kids basically, and it's so weird. It's so weird drafting kids. It is the strangest thing in the world to me, because especially being a dad, how do you grade things? You're just like you're looking, you're like, oh my god, because you can tell. We try to look as far as faster than average, but there's a couple kids I'm like, we can't. I'm like, please don't edit. Like, I'm just like, I get it, you don't want to be that way, but no, it was good. We had a great experience. It took us a little bit to kind of figure things out, especially, like I said, some roles were different, and it was even different than what they had on the website, so we were kind of messed up a little bit. We're like, well, that's what it says. Well, that's not how it is. I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, how could we? So we ended up learning, and he knew, because his son was there, he kind of knew certain things anyway. So, I mean, outside of that, though, it was fun. It was great. The kids did well. We were happy with the turnout, and we'll be happy to do it again this fall. So. But yeah, so
That's not the
Coach
best way to do
Chadwick.
it is to get thrown in, right? It's like you just kind of figure it out. I mean, what choice do you have?
Yeah, I mean, and it's something like I said, we both wanted to do. We were just more thinking baseball because like, we both love baseball. It's like
Hmm.
teaching the throw to hit. And again, we were more thinking little league, not like, because when they get to like the teenager, 13, 14, they're already kind of established, and
Yeah.
we're like, all right, we might not be able to help that level. They might need someone a step above us, but to
Hmm.
teach the kid the basics, I'm like, yeah. So, and we had three kids who have never played flag football before, and like I said, it was great. Um, yeah, no, it was just it honestly was a fun experience. I mean, we did do our first half of the season took a little bit, and once we kind of figured things out, we did better the second half.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, it was fun, and yeah, we'll see how this season goes. It's funny because we get to pick our team names too. So Brian wanted the Patriots. It's tough because people are like, oh, you're going to be that guy. Because I didn't care what team name, but it'll be interesting what team we pick this year because he wants to do. His son was like, "Can we do something else besides Patriots?" So it goes in order
Yeah.
how you draft because it's like fantasy football. We just pick numbers. And so it's like, all right, you got the first pick, and it's snake draft too. But then you're just looking at, unless you start them as like, you're just looking at a bunch of numbers. And after the first 2-3 rounds, it's almost like it is throwing a dartboard because there's a bunch of them which are good, but you just don't know, because you
Yeah.
have like the ones that you can tell which ones were playing for a long time. Then you have like a big group, they're all good, they could be decent. And then you have the ones like, okay, this is going to take a little work. So, but yeah, that's my day tomorrow. Afterwards, I think I'll do grocery shopping, and then my evening's free, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll just chill and watch a movie or something like that. Who knows?
Oh, a
But
movie. Oh,
no,
goodness.
we'll get to that. I
You're
kind
on
of
a
just
you're on a roll.
I watched two this week, which one we'll talk about it later
Woo!
on. So, but
Times they
yeah,
are a changing.
I still have the starting soon, but let's get to our, the start of the little casual conversations. This is the
Yes.
eighth podcast, Soto. We've done 8 of these now. It has
Unbelievable.
been it has been a month. I kind of looked since we last done this, and that's just because we had a lot happen this past month. Just personally, we had things going on.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to talk about a couple things that I've done earlier in the month.
Hmm.
The 30th is coming, and that day is me and Jill's officially 10th year anniversary. It's on that day, but she works
Hmm.
for a school, so we had to do something earlier in the month. So we treated ourselves. I say that we went to Foxwoods, but if people remember our past video, we talked about our last meals, and it
Yes.
took as we talked through it because I was like, oh my god. because we both thought Chinese food at first. Because I know there for me it was sesame chicken. For you it was the crappy orange chicken from Panda Express. Which FYI, I told you,
Specifically.
Foxwoods has a Panda Express, so we could hit both of these places that the other place I'm talking about, and just be like, yeah, just bad night of gambling, like just hit the orange. Oh, this just hits the spot. But as I was talking, because I was like, yeah, it's good to go with something but then I'm like, I want something that I've never had. And something I've always been curious about was a beef Wellington. I used to watch Hell's
Mm.
Kitchen a lot, blah, blah, blah. So I looked at Jill, I said, listen, this is our 10th. I said, fuck it, let's, dress up, and I say dress up. I'm not one to dress up, but I'm like a little bit nicer, and let's do a dinner date at Hell's Kitchen. And I had the beef Wellington, she had the filet mignon, and it was honestly, this was the best fucking food we've ever had. And I know it's but Gordon Ramsay, blah blah blah, but Soto, everything was perfect. Like everything we tasted, even the sides, even the dessert. We did the sticky toffee pudding because Jill wanted to try it. Everything was just fucking perfect at Hell's Kitchen. Like even the
So wait,
staff
what
was
you're
great.
telling me? There was no yelling going on because I'm looking at it in the background
They
here,
now they
and I
had to
can
build.
picture people being abused at their shifts,
So
and then
this
you're
is what
waiting
it
an
really.
hour and a half for your food.
No, no, no. The service was quick. So they are filming the new season. They're actually built for first time. They're building a set off of Foxwoods. So while this is running, they're going to have a set, and I don't know how that all is going to work because obviously I don't know.
Okay,
So Gordon Ramsay
sure.
was not here, but yes, the new season is taking place at Foxwoods. But yeah, there was no yelling, no nothing. The waitress we had, she was wonderful. Jill, who doesn't really drink much, she wanted wine. She even told her, like, listen, I just like the sweet wines, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And she came back with suggestions. And she's like, wait, you're getting the filet mignon, do this. Jill loved it.
Yeah.
And the other staff, people are coming by. One took our picture when we got the dessert because this booth was huge. So we kind of wanted to, get scooted together and take a couple pictures, especially when they did like a
Hmm.
dessert. But I am telling you, Soto, I am happy if people have a little, and even if you don't, they have like other things that are not as pricey as a beef Wellington, but this is by far the best food we've ever had. Probably the best food we'll ever eat in our lives because we've had good food. Do not get
Wow.
me wrong. We've had good, filet mignons, good other steaks and
Yep.
other things. But
Sure.
here, nothing we've had topped it. And it's even that our last night, I mean, we after gambling, we had a couple bags from shopping, and we're like, let's just go get dessert. So we sat at the bar. The second time around, I'm like, I just want to see how the cheesecake is because they had like this blueberry lemon. Oh my god, the cheesecake was phenomenal. Everything here was phenomenal, and I'm telling you, so if you get a chance. I mean, if we ever do go to Foxwoods, we will eat here. We don't have to buy the expensive shit. There's a lot of other good shit here, but we were happy. So that was what we did. One of the things we did. So we were able to cross that off of the bucket list. So now my last meal might go back to sesame chicken because I've had this, but I don't know. I'd be fine either or, but now I know what a fucking beef Wellington tastes like. Every part of it was great. Even the pastry, like just the fucking pastry around. I gave Jill a piece. It was just the most amazing thing we've ever eaten.
Oh, I
Uh,
bet.
oh my
Made with
god!
so
So
much butter. I'm sure it was.
not
It
as much
was
as you
absolutely
think.
amazing.
I mean, it was done perfectly. They can only serve it medium rare, and I think that helps keep the pastry
Of
intact.
course.
But
Yeah.
oh my god, it was phenomenal. So, but yeah, if you don't have to dress up or anything like that. It looks fancy, but people had hats, this and that, so you can just go there to eat. You can just go there to the bar, order, appetizers, dessert if you want. But like I said, this is kind of our big present to ourselves, and I'm glad we did. But next time, I want to try like the seafood stuff. Like I want to try a lobster risotto, and I want to try the scallops. That's
Ooh.
another thing I see out on the show a lot. So I'm like, I gotta try that. That's my next thing when I go here. So
Yeah, no, I've always seen it. Oh God, I've always wanted to try a beef Wellington. It's not something that it can easily be done at home. Um, I've seen it be made, and it looks complicated as fuck. So would love to try it. That's probably what I would try.
oh, you would have to. I mean, obviously, if we go, I mean. If somehow we're at Foxwoods, unless you and Sarah have a date night, I am fine with that. I will say that, but you do whatever, but definitely try the beef Wellington. I mean, but anything, like I said, we got there. Like I said, Jill had the filet mignon. It was just perfect. So, but that wasn't
Okay,
the
got
only.
that.
And so yes, we've accomplished something from a past video, which I never thought we would, because I'd be like, when am I ever going to Hell's Kitchen? Because I would never try beef Wellington anywhere else outside of here.
Well, of course.
I mean, I like, I know a couple other places do it, but I'm like, there's just no way. But
Like
Jill saw
where?
something else
Like,
there. I don't know where. I'm sure there's a couple,
yeah.
and it's just shitty. And and I'm like, if this is the only place to me, like, once you have the best, you just can't go back. You just can't have anything else. I'm telling you.
I believe it.
but there's this other place in Foxwoods that we wanted to try, and we did. And they actually opened something similar in Nashville, but it's called Smash Avenue. And the
Oh
premise
yeah,
is you
yeah.
just buy a room,
You
and depending
showed
on
me
the
this.
package you can get, and they like so we I just did like the second package from the bottom. Like I didn't need all
Hmm.
this other big, and plus because we only had 20 minutes here, it's a 20-minute time limit. And so we had like wine bottles, we had like dishes, we had like computer equipment, keyboard, mouses, and I'm telling you, I took that sledgehammer and swung with full force on like all the office equipment. But fuck this, anyone that's worked retail, anyone that's worked in an office. Excuse me, I'm burping my coffee up. I apologize for that. Anyone that's
Party
done
getting
that
old.
has wanted to break shit, and you can do it here. And it was so much fun. They had a stand too, and I put a wine bottle there, and I would take that aluminum bat, swung full force, just shattered on impact. Oh, it felt great. I mean, I know this is going to sound bad. It gets out your aggression, but still, I had to wear the yellow jacket because I had short sleeves on. My wife actually had like a kind of a sweater on because it is a little chilly in Foxwoods, believe it or
Yeah.
not, even though this is summer. But yeah,
Oh, I know.
they
Yeah.
make you wear long sleeves. We have like the cut resistant gloves on, but I think I used every tool that's hanging up there. One way or another. The hammer wasn't as fun. I did that to get some small pieces at the end, but when you could get like a sledgehammer on, that thing is so fucking heavy and huge, and just come down on a keyboard, a mouse, whenever the fuck you want. It
Oh,
feels
very
good.
cathartic.
I don't care. I'm like, it felt good. So I don't know
Nice.
if we would do it again here. Nashville, they give you an hour and there's a bit more options. So with the right people, I might do this again. It
Was
was
it
definitely fun.
expensive
I
or?
think it was expensive here because it's Foxwoods, so I was like, yeah, but again, we're like, this is our anniversary. I'm like, let's just do this. And in a way, it's money we would have probably gambled away or done something stupid with. I probably would have lost at a table. So I'm like, like,
It's a great
so
business model.
it is,
Just buy
and
a bunch of junk and fucking just like
well,
have people pay to break it.
Well, it's funny because the other I don't think they have to buy the junk. Because think about it, we're at the bar. Remember Hell's Kitchen? Our last night we were sitting there, and at the bar they had all their bottles kind of displayed beautifully, and we're like, I think they just go around and be like, listen, instead of throwing it out, just give it to us. Because some of these bottles still had a little liquid in it. I mean, I'm talking about very minimal, but I'm like, I wonder if they just go around collecting whatever they can from all the
Well,
restaurants
why not?
upstairs. I'm like, they get it for free. The restaurants don't have to dump anything extra, and it's a win-win. You can bring your own stuff. You just have to get it pre-approved. I'm assuming they can't have anything that would cause explosion or damage the room in any way. Liquids. I mean, because some people have probably been fucking fire and shit like that.
Well, that's my point. It's like I like the idea of breaking things, but for me, I kind of want to set stuff on fire. Uh, that's where I get off on that shit. Like I like huge bonfires. One time I was at my friend's house and we made this humongous bonfire. We took doors, we put all sorts of shit in it, and it was like I remember it was raining balls, and the fire that we were next to was burning so fucking bright that like every time the rain was hitting us, it was like evaporating because we were so close to the fire. So I'm definitely much more of a. Of course, I don't know how they would even sell this, but that's way more dangerous than this. But yeah, I would love to set things on fire. I think that would be like more cathartic for me. But this looks like fun, and goddamn, man, whoever came up with this idea is fucking smart. It's a great
Well,
way to make money.
and there's extra things that we could have bought that we didn't, but there is one I was like, I might do if we ever do this in Nashville. They would fill a bottle with like colored sand and smoke. I was about to say smoke, but when it impacts, think about like the colorful explosion
Oh
around it. So I would
yeah,
be like, if we set up a video, because I did take
that's
videos of
kind of
my wife.
cool.
So I was like, they have things extra that you can buy and play around with. And like I said, there is one in Nashville which is very similar. You get the place for an hour. So I'm like, maybe this will be a Soto and Chad trip one day. Bring the wives if they want to
Yeah.
come, and basically it's like three kind of have to hide to one side of the wall because I was just making sure where Jill was at, and I'm like, all right, I'm swinging in this direction, and it would hit like they had everything protected. They had like the great we could hear
Oh, they have to.
there was a mother daughter literally in the next room, and they were doing the same shit we were, and it's just hilarious hearing. And I say daughter, I want to say she was probably maybe like teenager, so like 13, 14. So she was young, but still, I'm like, it's fun for all ages. But yeah, I mean, like I said, just all we did was break glasses and dishes, and yeah, as long as you're not We could not swing against the walls. We could not, obviously hit that. They had a dummy in there, which are like you can do
Ooh,
certain things. If you want to
I
punch,
like that.
certain things. But yeah, so you just don't obviously rip it apart. But it was so much fun, and it was easy way to get out your aggression. And I would definitely suggest it, Soto. No, you can't set things on fire, but that's kind of more of a safety thing. You are indoors, so as much as I know you might like to do that, then we
I
might
like
have to
things
find another
exploding.
adventure. I know we played a plenty of games
Yeah,
where explosions. So, but
I
that's what
do. I
that's
do.
probably the excitement for most exciting thing I've done this month. But yes, we did this for our 10 year. Our actual 10 year is actually a week from today. So,
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, I
so we,
can't
we
believe
had
it.
to
I
do
was
this
just
because yeah,
checking.
she goes
Yeah.
back to work for school. So,
I'd rather
but
do this than fucking an escape room. I'll tell you that much.
they
Like the
do have an
escape
escape
room,
room. We
I have
thought about
no
it
interest in that fucking bullshit
because it's
at all.
puzzles. You don't do
I
puzzles.
hate
I
puzzles.
know
I
you do, but
can't.
they're so fun.
Why would I want to do that in real life, dude? Like living is a puzzle. I don't want to do a puzzle. It's like, oh, escape room. I'm like, there's zero interest in me. I was like in Salem recently, and we walked by an escape room place, and I looked at Sarah, and I was like, no, I would never do this. This is stupid. I don't want to fucking have to like think about this. I don't want to fucking do this shit. No, I just don't. So I would rather knock things down and blow, and I guess I'll be okay with not blowing things up. But I smashing. I like the idea of the colored sand, the explosion thing. That sounds cool. Um, but I'll never. I have zero interest in escape rooms or fucking like real life puzzles, dude. Like I just don't. My mind does not do that. My mind is a very single straight line of just like I see things, I smash them. I just that's it. So yeah. So speaking of Salem,
Yeah, so you had a
um,
trip earlier this for this month as well. So yeah, tell us
I
what you did.
did.
I mean, I know you go to Salem more often than I do, but tell them why you love going to Salem. Tell me a little bit about your trip.
Well, I for so we're obviously a very spooky household here. We love all things Halloween. I'm not really a big fan of scary games, as we've talked about, but I like scary movies. I've watched a few already, and so Halloween's kind of already started in August. But um, I went to Salem a few years back, and it was definitely during October, and it was a fucking nightmare. But once we got out of the car and parked and everything and went around, it was cool. Um, I don't recommend going to Salem in October. I mean, if it's a once in a lifetime thing, okay, try it, but make sure you plan it out, get there super early, because parking is absolutely a nightmare, and then there are just oceans of people. But if you go into like the off times, like I went earlier this summer, just for lunch. The parking is pretty cheap, and it's a great time. So we went around. We went to a couple of the shops that they have. There's this one that we like in particular called Black Craft Cult. And it's very kind of satanic and cool, and it's got great vibes. It's got a coffee shop in the back too. It's in an old bank, so when you walk in, it's got this like really huge like witch that's like suspended from like the ceiling too. So, but I just love it. It's very North Shore. The food is great. There's a great restaurant there called Bambolina's, which is a half of a ramen and half Italian restaurant. So they have so you can order from both menus. So you can order ramen and then you can also have pizza. And it's like authentic pizza. It's really weird. But I made the mistake last time of eating pizza and then ramen, and then Sarah wanted to walk around. I could not walk. I was like full beyond capacity. I was pretty much like Violet in Willy Wonka's. Like you just had to roll me around the city, and I just couldn't even breathe. But this time around, it was pretty spontaneous, as you know. We talked about. I left the cannabis industry last week, so I've had some time. So we hit Salem early. We went to this restaurant called Rockefeller's, which the building is like from 1629. And we had lunch there. We walked around, and overall, a great time. Again, if you can go to Salem in the off season, it's still got everything that you would get in October, minus a little bit of the other things. Like you won't see what the fuck is his name, Jack Skellington. Is that the fucking guy from
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
Night Before Christmas? Yeah, yeah. So you won't see Jack Skellington walking around because he's like a fixture there. Um, but it's still the same vibes, and it's a lot less crazy because you can't even go into a fucking restaurant during like if you come to Salem in October, you're going to be waiting to go eat at a restaurant for 2 hours. And for me, as I get older, it's usually all I give a shit about is like where are we eating. Because I'll walk around, I'll be like, okay, cool, and then I'll be like, inevitably, like, okay, I'm either want to drink or I'm hungry. Uh, which I never understood as a little kid, because as a little kid, I'd be at Disneyland out in California, and I'd get pissed that my parents wanted to stop and eat. But I get it now.
You
I
gotta
get
get
it.
that energy in you.
I get it. That's the only thing that makes sense. It's like where's the I'm hungry. I want snacks. Like Sarah and I went to Canopy Lake. I don't even know, a few years back, and it was just her and I. And we would ride a ride, and then be like, all right, let's go get some snacks. All right, this place has some French fries. Okay. Then we would go on a ride and be like, all right, let's go eat some more like snacks and stuff like that. Most of our time that we were just eating food, and it was way better than the overall experience. So as a little kid, I'm like, I just want to ride rides, and now I'm like, I just want to eat, and I want to sit down, and I want to have a drink. So Salem is great for that. Um, Perfect every time we go. It seems to be an overcast day, which I don't think is. I think that's the best time to go to Salem. If it's an overcast, kind of like a 60 to 70-degree day, day where you can wear a hoodie. Um, it's over commercialized, but I think it's a great time. So that's what I did this week, and it was fucking awesome.
Well, yeah, and I remember even as a kid, we actually took like school trips to Salem. And the witch trials. That was always the big thing. Which after a while, once you've done a few of these museums, plays, whatnot, no real need to go back again. But if you haven't gone there for any of that, that's kind of like the attraction, and definitely there's a few of them you
Yeah,
can hit. So,
shit's old
but
as fuck, man.
it is, and that's one of our big things out here in New England. Salem and stuff like that. But no matter what,
Everything's
it
old.
is. Well, I mean, New England, but yes. But yeah, Salem's, it's been a few years since I've been. I think I went with Keely, like, I want to say 2018, 17.
Hmm.
I don't think it was. Yeah, definitely not since COVID hit, but I'll have to take another trip down there. But I've done a lot of the other stuff, but it's still a fun watch. So,
It's great
uh,
food. That's all it is. If you like food and you
food.
like walking around, Salem's a place to go. That's what I do. I like to eat food, and it's got it in spades. So, and it's also home of Notch Brewery. So if you like, local breweries and shit like that, Notch is one of the better ones, and it's right there by the water. Um, they also have their own dispensary too, called Seagrass, which I did not enter into because it's a little too soon for me. But yeah, no, it's a great little fucking thing. And again, it only cost me $15 for parking, all day parking at the Hampton Inn, which is right when you enter the city. So again, if you can get there, it's a nice cheap time. Walk around, sit down in the park. You can go to some old ass cemeteries, man.
Yep.
I'm talking old ass cemeteries, and it's just a vibe.
No, I definitely will. Maybe we can get one more trip before the October season gets
I
here. So,
recommend it. Yeah, like
yeah.
middle of September is still okay, but I mean even right now there's a lot of people there.
Oh yeah.
You
People
know,
have
we,
figured
we
it
went.
out
There's
too.
people walking around. Exactly. You got to spread it out. But when you go to October, you get people from like Minnesota and shit. People from all over the world. And I never would think to myself that Salem is even that big of a deal. But when you see all the people coming in from all across the United States and all across the world, and they're gathering at Salem like it's this big fucking thing, it really does open your eyes to see how huge it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we've had it our whole lives here, or
Yeah.
I know for the most part you, but it's been here. But still, when you think about the history of Salem and, like I said, the witch trials and all that shit, um, there is a lot of history to this town. So if anyone's in the New England area, Madness, I'm about to read Madness's comment to you, but if you ever come to the stateside, you come say hi to us. We'll show you New England, but we'll take you to Salem. But Madness says about his travels, Soto, and you'll appreciate this. He's like, when I travel, I only look for places to rest. The other tour stuff is optional. So he's like, where's the next stop? I'm gonna sit and rest my feet. Right over there. Okay. Oh, Okay, great picture. Let's go. Um,
I'm right there with you, Madness,
yeah,
honestly. I'm right there with you, bud. I'm looking for a
food. Where
beer. I'm looking for
food.
food. That's it.
Good shot. Just I don't mind walking around a little bit, but yeah, if it gets too crowded, that it takes me out of the moment, though.
Hmm.
That's the only thing. Which I get, like I said, in some areas because a lot of people are enjoying themselves, but when it gets really bad, I'm like, okay, it's too much for me. Yeah, but
Well, like, all right, so really quick though, like,
yeah,
when's the last time you went to an amusement park?
an amusement park. Oh
Yeah, like
fuck,
a rode a roller coaster.
um, well, hold on. So Okay, so last time I went to Canopy Lake, so I'm trying to piece things together because it has been a while. Me and you were at Blockbuster, so that should tell you a thing or two.
Oh God,
Uh,
this is mid 2000s.
it was towards the end, but yeah, I remember we had like that out in there. We did like the Turkish twist. We did whatever we could find. I might have taken Keely there afterwards, but I had no need to go back to Canopy Lake after that for a while. Um, I did last year. I was in Atlantic City again with my daughter, and we walked the pier. We did some of the other. Maybe we didn't do like the. I think they had one roller coaster, but we did like the Ferris wheel, most famously on our TikTok, and we did the slingshot, which was insane, but it was so much fun. So yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I just look for different kinds of excitement. You know, it's like, what does this roller coaster have to offer? Oh, you're going upside down. Yay. But
Well,
it's been a long time since I've done an actual amusement park, you know, like a Candy Lake or like you said, Disney, any of that shit. Now it's just like, let me ramp up for one ride. And like, let's
well,
do
the
it.
thing is, it's like it's just waiting in line. I don't
Yeah.
have the patience for it. I know people can buy these fucking passes and shit that get you like ahead of the line. I don't know. Like somebody's like, "Oh, we're gonna spend the whole day at like Six Flags." And it's like, great. I'm gonna spend the whole day like waiting to get onto a ride that's gonna last me a minute and a half. And
Hmm.
yes, this is gonna come across as old man yelling at clouds like always. But that doesn't seem interesting to me at all. Like at all. I'd rather not. I'd rather not, to be quite honest with you. Like, I just don't want to. I've been on every single roller coaster that you possibly can be on. Okay, I've gone to like Cedar Point, all that crazy shit, and I say this all the time. It's just not worth it for
No,
me to just do it. It's just not.
and Madness Coney Island is a great place to visit. I mean, again, tourist wise, I've never been to Cedar Point, even though because in Minnesota when I lived there, we had a oh I can't even think of the name of the they had something similar. It can be like an amusement park in Valley Fair, which had like at the time because they beat out Cedar Point like the tallest roller coaster. I know it's been beaten since then, but blah blah blah. But you're right. I'm like now I look for special things that I haven't done. You know, Jill and I one time at Foxwoods we did like a 4D game where we were shooting zombies. You know, we'll have to take you on that, but it was pretty. And I found the same thing in Atlantic City, so I took Keely and her friends on that, and it's just a fun little ride. Like I said, I think I look more now for the special attractions. Like, well, what can I have fun that I've never done, or that I don't have to wait in line or do anything. So I just think the amusement park stuff for me now until I become a grandparent and I might have to go that then I just don't have any excitement to go to one. You know, I like you said, I
No,
don't want to wait around all day. There's nothing there for me. But you know,
and
I'm
you're
getting to
spending
the age
money.
when exactly it's expensive as shit now. So I'd rather spend that money, have like a great try something like I said, the slingshot. Never done. I didn't have to wait in line that long. I just had to wait till the person in front of me was done, and then just we were just the nerves were kicking in and we did it, but it was something we've never done and both of us will remember. So I just again can't be like Six Flags, all that shit. It's just like I can't anymore. I can't. It does not entertain me. You know, it's like why waste a day? Like I said, I think South Park made fun of this, you know, a while ago with Carbon buying his own amusement park. He's like, you know, nowadays you can buy a ticket to get it, you know, in front of the line, but then you're in a line to wait for the line. Then you're in a line to wait for the line to buy the line pass or whatnot. Like
Kill me.
you know how
Just
South
kill
Park
me.
is. He's
Just
just like
fucking kill
he
me.
bought the amusement park
That's
just
what
so
it
no one
is.
else could be there. So
Kill
I
me.
mean, yeah, and it's hard. You know, there's not much more excitement in roller coasters. Like, yeah, they're fun, they're thrill seeking, and pirate ship was always a favorite of mine. But I've done it. I'm not saying, oh, we should really do that shit again. You know, show me something new. And then maybe that that'll be about it. So, but anyhow,
I mean, look, this is the alcoholic in me talking, but I'll just drink 6 beers. And I'll just go on a roller
you're
coaster
really
in my brain.
wee.
Right. And I'll go on YouTube and I'll look at old music videos and I'm on 6 beers. I've had a few shots. I'm having a great time. And you know what? I'm not waiting in fucking line. The only person that's on the roller coaster of drinking is me. And I just go and at my own pace. And eventually the roller coaster will end. Whether I want it to or not, I'll just go night night. That's my
Yeah,
life now. That's me in like my mid 40s life. It's
we
like,
just wait to
okay.
go night night.
Yeah, I just wait to go night night. And it's like I drink enough and it's like, yeah, I just when I was younger, of course, I'd wait. I went to Six Flags and there's Six Flags in Springfield. and they had a Superman ride. I don't even know if they fucking have it there now. But I remember I waited 3 hours in line to ride the Superman ride, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it
And it
was.
was me, my best friend at the time, and we had a fucking blast. We were crying, like laughing so hard during the roller coaster and everything like that. And then when the roller coaster was done, we got back in line and waited for another 3 hours just so we can get on to it again. I can't even fathom that now. 3 hours in line, I would shoot myself. I probably would have a pulmonary embolism in my fucking legs. 3 hours
Yeah.
waiting in line to ride a fucking 2 minute ride? If it's even 2 minutes, get the fuck out of here with this.
So before we go to our next topic, I got to tell you this story. So I was 15, and I was living in Minnesota, and I came back to New England. Did a month vacation with my dad, spent time with him. He invited me and my friend Brian to stay a week. Brian, he knew, and we went to Riverside. I don't know if Riverside still exists, but it
Oh,
was
I
kind of
feel
like,
like I know this.
yeah, I know it's an amusement park that was in Massachusetts. I don't know which city, but I know for a fact. And this was middle of the week. Probably I want to say July, but it wasn't busy, so we had a lot of free range. So this was like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, not when it was packed, but they had this one ride, and my dad went on with me and Brian at first, and all this ride was a roller coaster. You drop down, do one big loop, and then go up, but then you do the same loop backwards. That is it. Now, me and Brian again were young, and then we were like, let's do it again. There was no line, but we just had to run to the next time. So we literally ran down the stairs. My dad, it's like, all right, you guys do it as many. Like we talked about earlier, he had to find a place to rest. While we're doing the running, because he's like, I can't. We ended up, I think it was 7 times. Me and Brian did the 7. We actually have a picture, and I still have this picture of us on it in the first time, and we're screaming because they do those roller coaster pictures. But this is back
Yeah.
when the pictures weren't that great. But yeah, I still have that somewhere. And I remember that it was up and down. We did it 7 times because we had to run down the stairs, run back up to the next spot. But there was no lines, and I don't remember any of the other rides that day. But I remember me and Brian doing that again and again 7 times because we're like, this is fun, and that's all it was. It was like one big loop, and then the loop backwards. We're like, yeah, and that was it. But yeah, I couldn't do it. Like I said, again, when I become a grandfather, if that happens and we have the kids and they get old enough, yes, I will go because of the kids, but I will only go on the rides I think my body can handle at that time, because who knows how old I'll be when I become a granddad. I'm not trying to rush it. When it happens, it happens. That's where I'm at. I know things happen, but I think that will be the next time I will go to an amusement park, because it's like, okay, spending time with my grandson, granddaughter, and yeah. All right.
Well, actually, fun fact: Riverside is what turned into Six Flags New England.
That's right.
Yes,
That's
and
right. You're right
it's
now.
in
I forgot about
Agawam.
that.
I thought it was in Springfield, but yeah, we both were in the same exact place. So Riverside used to be Riverside, and then it got bought out, and it's been Six Flags.
I've been to Six
ever
Flags.
since.
I forgot that was the same place because when it became Six Flags, I have gone there. I just don't remember. Again, it's been a while. I just forgot that Riverside became Six Flags. So,
Sure did.
all right. Well, we talked earlier about like past videos and stuff like that, and we are going to talk about a little football coming up because we have some football that just talk about ideas from a past video. But before we go, I've jumped the gun. I am such a shitty person. I realized I did not follow my own outline. Why didn't you
Look
stop
at the
me?
outline here.
I'm like,
Well,
wait.
I mean, I figured you were. I figured you were in control.
I'm not in control. I misread. But anyhow, so the not. Let me rephrase.
So we digress.
So we digress. Hey, it's live. I fuck up. I missaw where I was on my outline. A joke that Soto gives me, he gives me shit a lot,
Yes.
is the fact that ever since I've left Blockbuster, I have stopped watching movies. Now, I've watched the occasional, like the Marvel movies I kind of stuck with for a little while. I couldn't even say, there's other few ones here and there that interested me. But when we worked for Blockbuster, we had like 7, 10 free rentals. So we saw not just the Blockbusters, but like the shitty of the shits, the direct-to-video. So we were able to see so much, and we'd just be at home. But anyhow, I just stopped, and I didn't care. I've always said this, like, I don't care. You've always asked me, what's the last new movie you watch, and I couldn't even answer it half the time. I'm like, I don't know. So Soto challenged me, and I think we're going to do this, maybe not every podcast, but once a month, talk about a new movie. But I will say this, Soto, next time it's my pick, but it will be from 2023 beyond. And
Okay.
just because
Fair.
I'm like, I think we can go back and forth if we do the same one. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, should we, but anyhow, you chose Bikeriders. And
Yes.
first of all, why did you pick this movie for me to watch?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it was the newest thing that was on Peacock, and I was like, okay. And Sarah also wanted to watch it because Tom Hardy is one of our favorite actors.
Hmm.
And so it was on the front page of Peacock. It seemed to me to be the definition of a brand new movie, and I said, "Fuck it. Why am I going to think about it?" Because I went through HBO Max and I went through a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out something to watch, but everything was like, you had to rent it. And I didn't want to like have you spend money on
Oh,
this.
I went. I always said no. I will.
No,
I will spend
because
money on Next Karate Kid for a run and taste, which that is true, by the way. But we had to do it. But yeah, I was like, if I had to pay it, no, no. So yes, we like
well,
free shit.
here's a tangent, by the way. The rentals are not even that expensive right now. Remember, like what they were at Block? They're actually not that bad. They're like $3.49, and I'll be like, no,
Well, no, because
that's
new releases
too
at Blockbuster were
expensive
left
for
for
me.
like $4.99 to $5.99. I think
Yeah,
that, and I could be wrong about and like older ones were like, I think they got down to $1, maybe $2, But yeah, but no, still spending money. When everything's on streaming, it's like if we're watching old movies, like I don't want to pay for it. So, but I had to because with Cobra Kai, I had to watch The Next Karate Kid. It wasn't available anywhere. You were able to see it somehow. On a platform on the streaming service I didn't have, so I'm like, fuck it, I will pay for it on Prime, which I did, $3.49, but it was worth it because it was
it's
so shit. But
bad.
anyhow, I digress to a past video. But Bikeriders. So you saw
Yes,
this? It was plastered
I
over
saw it.
Peacock. Sarah wanted to see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and so that's why I was like, fuck it, let's give it a shot. I've never seen it. You've never seen it. And of course, with these, I wouldn't ask you to watch a movie that I wouldn't also make time to watch. And as I looked at the runtime, it was just a little bit, couple minutes under 2 hours, which I feel is, that's fair. It's
Yes.
not Dune, and it's not, the fucking Zack Snyder
Director's cut.
direct. Why was there a director's cut of Rebel Moon? I don't know. We'll talk about that in another podcast. But there was like 3 hours and 49 fucking minutes for like part one. I was like, no, that's not happening. Because that was like my first one. Let's watch this shitty movie and see what happens. But Bikeriders, it was new. It just came out. It's not Roadhouse, so I figured let's give it a shot.
Yeah, and it took me a while. I actually watched this morning. I was trying to find
Fresh,
time, and well, no, a
fresh
few days
takes.
ago, yeah. So I was gonna sit down and watch, and I was not. I honestly, I know this is gonna sound bad. I wasn't in the mood. I'm like, I don't know why. Like I saw, but like who was in it, and like said Tom Hardy. I'm like, okay. I saw Norman Reedus. I'm like, okay. But I like in that moment, I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for this. Like, and I was just like, I didn't know how this would be. And the funny thing is, so because we've talked about Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm like, I got to finish my last Marvel movie. I was caught up on all the movies except for the Marvels, which I started a while ago. And again, I was like, God, I'm like, it didn't grab me. I'm like, I just got to sit down and watch it, which is actually weirdly shorter than this. So I'm like, fuck it. So yeah, I popped on the Marvels. I finished it because I did watch WandaVision and Miss Marvel. So
Hmm.
that kind of all accumulated into what the Marvels was about. I know it was kind of a bomb, compared to a lot of the other Marvel. That's beside the fact. But anyhow, so this morning I'm like, all right, I get up and I'm an early bird now. I wanted to sleep in, but no matter how much I try, I am so up and early, 7, 8
Hmm.
o'clock. My eyes are,
Yeah.
once my eyes are, I'm like, fuck. And what had happened was I'm like, all right. And I thought, a funny story was I went to Prime. And now, mind you, Soto just said Peacock, and my brain forgot. And I was like, "Oh, it's not there." So and then I did a Google search because when you Google search a movie, it'll tell you what streaming
Yes.
platforms and the prices. I will tell you this, Soto. It did not say Peacock. Everything was paid. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay for this fucking movie. And then I'm like, this is going to be a hilarious story because if I waited too long, I'm like, did I wait till I? Because again, my mind was thinking Prime. So
Uh,
I'm watching YouTube videos in bed, and then I'm like, okay, and I'm like, let me just. I'm like, that's so weird. So I scrolled through our text, and I'm like, was it Prime? Because maybe it was something else. And I'm like, it wasn't on Netflix. And then I see Peacock, and I'm like, oh, now mind you, Google did not say Peacock at the time I searched, because otherwise, and I'm like, oh, it is on Peacock. And I'm like, well, now I gotta watch it. So it took me. At first, I was a little worried. I'm like, all right, but then I got into it. It was all right. Like I said, I'm not gonna say it was great, because it's hard for me to say a movie is great. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to be biased here or old man. Just even older movies, like great. But this was good. It wasn't, it wasn't bad. And obviously it takes place in Chicago, which I'm like, all right, you got me with the Chicago shit. I think that might have been part of your plan. But I did. As the movie went on, it got better. I was a little bit worried. I'll be honest. I was a little bit worried in the beginning
Hmm.
Just the way that I forget her name, the actress.
Hmm.
You say fresh takes, but it took me a while for me to even like her as a character. For some reason, in the beginning, it was just kind of off putting, and then so it all grew. I will say the one thing I did not like about this movie, and I was shocked at, was Norman Reedus. I knew he was in
Yeah.
this, and that like he felt out of place as that character. And I know he is a bike rider in real life, so I
He
knew
went nowhere.
yeah, his character went nowhere, and I think he just wanted to be a part of this. He's like, hey, listen, I don't know the backstory, but it was just even the character he played. Like they could have just got someone different. It just
Yeah.
someone of Norman Reedus' stature that seemed out of place, and it just I don't know. It really was off-putting to me. I'm like, that character did not even need to be in this movie. It would not have changed anything. It would have made it better or worse. It was just
Hmm.
there. I think it was just there to have Norman. And he, had the weird teeth and the over California. He had like the scruffy hair. And I love Norman Reedus and a lot he does. And this, I was like, this was a waste. Like, this is not, for that character what they were trying to maybe do. Like, you could have got someone kind of new because outside of Tom Hardy, and I obviously I did not know a lot of these actors that were in it, especially the main guy. Because since I don't watch movies
I know. You're like,
nowadays,
who's Austin Butler?
I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? But I'm like, I know he's done a few things. Because I obviously knew who Tom
Yes.
Hardy was, and like I said, when I looked at the cast and Norman Reedus, and now I know Austin Butler has done a lot more. But since I don't watch movies, I don't know. But anyhow, yeah,
This is why we do this.
I will say that yeah, the Norman Reedus character was wasted, and it just did not
Yeah.
fit into this movie. And even though the young guy from the Renegades who challenged Tom Hardy at the end, even that character when from the first introduction just felt very forced and very weird. But
Yeah.
I think I like the story how bike riding was perceived back in the 60s when it started to how it became into a gang mentality, more,
Right.
so that transition, I'm like, that was actually good because it's just not just bikers, but if you think about groups in general, because just because you have one bad apple, because again, you have the Austin Booker character, I can't, what was it, Lenny, Kenny, right? Benny. I'm like, Kenny,
Benny.
yeah,
Yes. It
Benny,
was tattooed
sorry.
on his arm.
Yeah. Because Benny was the loose cannon. He get in fights, but Tom Hardy,
Yes.
maintained him. It's just you always have a few bad apples in any group, and perception is there. So that weird story, like yeah, they were kind of a motorcycle group. Yeah, some people are like, oh, who the fuck are they? But they had kind of that code, just hey, we're here for each other. All we want to do is ride. But the fact that you saw the transition from what it started to gang, that was the part that I think I liked about this movie the most. And Tom Hardy was fantastic. He was.
Yeah. He always is. I think my main problem with the movie like this, and again, it's a perfectly, I think you said it, it's perfectly fine. But this is the quintessential movie that I will watch once and I will never watch again.
Yeah.
So like there are plenty of movies that are like that I've seen where I'm like, this is a perfectly fine movie. I have no interest in watching this movie again. And that's not a bad thing for this movie. I just it didn't do anything for me where I'm like, okay, this is what it just was a movie. If I had to rate this out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 6.3. And I'm
I
not
was gonna
saying that
say six,
that's
seven. Yeah, somewhere right there in between. Yeah, I'm with you.
because like I'll never rewatch it again. I have no reason to rewatch this, and I will watch other Tom Hardy movies. I love Tom Hardy. Um, Bronson's one of my favorite movies, and a few other ones he's been in too. But The Drop is another good Tom Hardy movie that's like underrated. But this movie, yeah, Austin Butler, I think he's perfectly fine in this. I think that, yeah, I was a little off put by the main actress at first, and then once the movie started settling into being a movie, because it was this weird sort of documentary
Yeah.
vibe for a second, which works for some things and it doesn't work for other things. I don't know, but it wasn't like it just wasn't doing it for me, and many times it was boring and it felt longer than the 2 hours. Um, I like the whole transition of the motorcycle thing from, obviously, like you said, from the 60s to like the Sons of Anarchy kind of a vibe that it turned into. But I mean, as a movie, you know, 6 point something. Like, I'll never see this again. It was cool, but I have no reason. I'll never buy this on Blu-ray. It'll never be part of my thing. I will forget about this movie. And there's so many movies like that I've seen where I'll watch it once, I'll never watch it again. And that's what this movie is like the quintessential, check mark in that thing where I'm like, yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it
Yeah,
was, and then
that's it.
it's funny. I was watching. I'm like, was this even in theaters? You know, because that
I
it's
think it
again,
was.
was it? Because I mean, again, I didn't see any previews, but it brings me back to like the way things were before COVID, and maybe even before then, before a lot of the streaming services took over. Like we've talked about this, the movie theater experience can be amazing. And there, it was different in the 90s and 2000s compared to now, because now everything, people like, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for watching shit at home, but
Oh, me
there is
too.
also a good theatrical experience. So I was like, this might not have been, and I'm okay with that, because again, this isn't turning heads, unless you're in love with Tom Hardy, or that Austin guy or Norman Reedus. But like I said, the movie as a
That
whole,
Austin
well,
guy.
whatever his name is, I don't know, and I don't care. I'm sure we'll, now that I know his name, I'm going to look up the next movie. I'm like, let's find a movie starring him. That's how we'll connect these movies. We're like, we'll just go actor, like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. We're like, what's the next movie? But anyhow, I don't know.
Elvis.
Yeah,
That's the.
I don't know if I can watch Elvis. I've seen that clip, and I know he does it because I've seen that scene where he's like shaking his hips and the girls are going crazy.
He's in
Um,
Dune as well. He's one of the Harkonnens in Dune, which I know Dune is like a final boss for me. Because I keep saying I'm gonna watch it. Maybe I'll watch it after this podcast. Who knows? But it's 2.5 hours, and I don't know. He's in it for a brief moment. He plays the character that Sting played in the original Dune. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not seen
Um,
Dune in so long, so I'm going to say it's not even in my memory.
no, but
Yeah.
he's like an up and coming like dude. He's kind of like that Skarsgård guy who
Yes.
was in it, and now he's in. By the way, The Crow has a
Mm.
6% Rotten Tomatoes score right now. Just FYI, the remake for The Crow not
Well,
doing well.
Halloween is coming, and we got to pick some movies soon.
I
So
will. Okay, I will shoot myself in the fucking face. First of all, I'm not paying money for that.
no, no. Again, our role is if it's free and we can watch it, and we may or may not do it.
It might
Um,
be free soon,
Yeah.
based on how it's going.
I mean, we'll talk
Based
about
on
our
how it's
Halloween
going.
picks, because Halloween picks are always hard,
Yes.
because you want to do a few that are funny, a few that are good. But anyhow, Bike Riders, yeah, like you said, this is fine. And at the end of the day,
It
it's
was
not like
fine.
I'm like we're not like, holy shit, this is awesome. We need to see, like you said, see it again. It ended, and I was like, okay, and that's it.
6.3.
Like I said, I think the acting was good once it got into it, and I think I think that was basically what carried this movie. It was a decent story in the middle, because at the beginning,
Hmm.
like you said, I don't know if it was her. And I was just like, and I was a little bit worried. I'm like, fuck, when And then at the end, yeah, it kind of fell off, but all that chunk in the middle, they carried it. They held it together, except for Norman Reedus. Sorry, Norman Reedus fans. I mean, like, he's great in a lot of things, but this, he was. It was so confusing to me why he was even in it. Outside the fact that he rides
Probably
motorcycles,
to get funding. Like sometimes
probably.
these actors get thrown in there just to be like, all right, the studio will give you more money if you put Norman Reedus in there because then they can count on a certain amount of people that like Norman Reedus
Hmm.
to actually show up and watch the movie. So I don't know.
I don't know either, but
It
anyhow,
didn't make sense to me. Tom Hardy's great. Tom Hardy honestly was wasted in this movie, to be quite honest. But that's me.
uh, well, it's funny, because at first I was like, Norman Reedus. I was trying to think. I was like, Norman Reedus might have done well in that role. Then I'm like, no, Tom Hardy did great in that role. I don't,
He
once
did
that role,
great.
once it settled in, again at the beginning, because I think that role is the only thing that needed a veteran actor for, like someone that was kind of
Yes.
known, someone that can control everything. Everything else I felt could have been newer people, and that's why the Norman Reedus one, his Californian guy, just did not fit. But I think Tom Hardy was perfectly fine. I think towards the end, though, a lot of it was just. I think that story with him and us, just him telling me, hey, when my time's up, I want to give it to you. I think that could have been built a little bit more towards the end. I think a lot of it felt rushed.
Yeah.
I was like, they didn't flesh this out. But again, I think the middle is what carried this movie. And it was fine. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I've seen a lot worse, and I've seen a lot better. And that's all I can pretty much
The
say. Like I
best
said,
review that you
it
could
wasn't
possibly say.
shit. And if we could say a movie wasn't shit after a lot of the shit we've watched. So listen, if you got Peacock and you want to watch this for free and you got, 2 hours, like I said, not
Yeah.
bad. It's just pushing that limit, because I know once it gets above 2, we're like, ugh. But it's like at like an hour 50 something. But like I said, if you got time and you like bike riding, this, like I said, the story's there in the middle. And it's okay. Like I said, you're not going to hate it. You're not going to love it. But that was us. So that's what I have to say. But yeah, so I think
Excellent.
that the next movie I will take a look whenever we get around to talking about it. Whenever
Hmm.
the next podcast. This might be a once a month. I don't know if we can do this every week, but once a month we're like, all right, let's do
Well,
this
we could do
movie.
bi-weekly. Come on, we could do
Well,
bi-weekly.
again, it depends on how.
Yeah.
If we do, well, no, like I said, I mean, in case something happens, but yeah, we could definitely do bi-weekly if we're able to do a Never Lie podcast. I will look it up, and it's funny because I saw a couple. I'm like, oh my god, this could be shit. I'm like, but it's a sequel to a '90s movie, and I'm like, I just gotta know how bad this is, because I went to Prime, and the first thing that popped up was Twisters. I'm like, this is gonna be shit. I'm like, but we gotta watch this.
I'd
So
fucking watch it if it was free. I trust me.
it's
I
on
almost
Prime.
did recommend that.
So
But
that
you
might
could
be our
rent it,
next
though. It's
one.
on Prime. Is
It's
it? Wait,
on
is it
Prime.
Prime like free?
Yes, I think it is because of the fact, and I'm going to look it up now as we're talking. Because again, remember I said I went to Prime to look for this, and that was like on like the cover. I hate to say the cover. First thing that popped up, Twisters. Let me just
Look,
look.
if it's free, I'll
Oh,
fuck
it's
with
not
it.
free
You know
yet.
what I mean?
No, not yet.
As soon as it's free, I'll fuck with it. I don't care. Like, we have a, we could, this could be like our whole thing. Be like, it's got to at least have come out in the last year, because as I've told you so many times, we have to be. If we talk about movies, we have to know what's going on currently with movies. We just need to. I know
Yeah.
that we used to work at Blockbuster Video, and it was a lot
Used to.
easier because we
Used to.
but like, we had to set up the fucking new release wall and shit like that. You know what I mean? We had to do that every fucking Monday night and Tuesday, and so we always were like, okay, this movie is crap, but we know it's coming out, and we would get the new releases before everybody else did, and so we could actually watch it. It didn't actually count towards our 7 free rentals, if I remember correctly. And
Franchise it didn't, corporate it did.
oh, fuck corporate, man. Corporate always
But
fucks
we're
everything up.
But because if you remember in franchise, we could not put it on our account. We had like write it down because they couldn't scan it.
Yes.
Corporate, we could
Yes.
scan it beforehand as long as it was back before the Tuesday. So that way they can at least track it. So they still allowed us to do it. But franchise, we had to like actually pen it in and bring it back. But we were not allowed to scan it. But you're right. I mean, like I said, we saw a lot of movies. I mean, that was the best thing about Blockbuster because, like you said, knowing a lot of our customers, like, hey, I didn't like this, but this is up your wheelbarrow. Well, if you like, Will Ferrell, you might like this, or be like, hey, this is not his typical kind of movie, blah blah blah. So, yeah, I mean, watching, we will still do our Rotten Tastes because that is our bread and butter, what we love, and that's who we are. But yeah, once every couple of weeks, we will watch a movie, talk about a movie, or before a podcast, and we'll talk about it. So, Bikeriders, like I said, this is not great, not bad. Watch it. If you got 2 hours free, you got nothing, and you have Peacock. Watch it for free. Please, don't pay for it. I would have been pissed if I would have paid like $3, $4 for this. I think I'd have been like, yeah, not worth it.
$4. I can't even separate myself from $4, dude.
No,
like,
I can't.
this.
I can't. I think about it. Would you have paid for this? Like afterwards?
No.
Exactly. Thank you.
This time isn't free, but at the same time, when you think about it, it's like $4, man. Fucking dollars.
That's
like
$4 that can go to a video game.
That's $4 that can go to. Yeah, you're right. Outlast is like $1 now these days. So yeah, that's actually a good point. But I don't know. I'd like to get more. Post COVID, you're 100% correct. It's like a lot different now. Things I think go to theaters now, and then they go into streaming, because I think in COVID they would just go straight to streaming.
You're correct.
The studios hated that. So now it's like they do have like a designated time where they're supposed to go into theaters, and then they come back to streaming. So I think that Bikeriders may have been in the theaters because that's not really a thing. Because people actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but they actually like going to the theater these days.
Yeah, it's made a comeback.
Yeah.
Because obviously because of COVID and stuff like that. But speaking of which, I think I have our next movie if we can plan this out with the wives. Because I know you mentioned you got to talk to Sarah. I know Jill might want to see this. If we can see Deadpool and Wolverine. We need to plan, because that technically would be a new movie. And then in 2 weeks we could talk about it, or, next time. So we need to plan that. That should be, because you can't get much newer than that. I mean, I'm sure you can.
As it gets, it's huge.
It's
and
the biggest.
Now I've got Saturdays off. I know Sarah does Saturday night, so yeah, let me know.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Like we'll
figure out this. But I think that might be, and we can talk about the theatrical experience again. But anyhow, I think we need it because we both really want to see that. That's a movie we're excited for. We love the Deadpool one.
Love Deadpool.
I mean, it's part of the Marvel universe, obviously. Even if it wasn't, if it was still like.
Well, this one is the first one, that is, right?
Correct. Like, yeah, they're not recognizing the first two as part of the Marvel, but it's, you know what I mean. But
But
Yeah,
it is part of the same continuity. I mean, it's
correct.
fucking,
Because they added
if
the
you're a Deadpool
Loki.
fan.
Yeah, they added things from Loki season 2 and season 1 to this, and I just
Into Deadpool and Wolverine?
because without getting into it, from my understanding, because obviously this deals with the whole, again, we're going into the multiverse saga. Well, no, because that, I'm assuming,
Yeah,
not knowing, this
yeah.
is how Wolverine and Deadpool meet up. But the TVA is what controls everything in like Loki to make sure the timeline stays the way it's supposed to. Like timelines aren't supposed to
Ah,
interconnect, and when they do, it's almost like, think of it, they're the police. They're like, okay, they get the variants, and they're like, hey, the guy who time jumped, basically arrest, do whatever, and fix the timeline so they don't cross. However, that's done. And in Loki, that's how it gets all fucked up. And Kang, before obviously what happened to Kang. So yes, I know they said if anything, that's the only real thing. And there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs from just past X-Men, past Marvel. You know, that it's Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. We know there's a lot of past shit. It's what he does. But the TVA and Loki is the only thing to understand a little bit about, that will come from like the previous Marvels that will kind of help the story go forward. That helps introduce Deadpool into the Marvel universe. So, and we'll leave it at that because I don't know how. I've been trying
okay.
to stay away from any spoilers. I know some cameos, but I'm like, I just don't want to know anything more. I'm just trying to stay away, but it's hard. It's
Oh,
hard in this
I've stayed
age.
away.
Yeah,
I've missed a good amount. I know I'm going to be surprised by quite a lot.
yeah.
So,
And,
but it's the internet. You can't stay away from shit.
no, and like I said, I see a picture, and so I know a couple fun, and I know there it has something to do with the story. So, and again, I won't spoil it here, but
Hmm.
it's what we expect from a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. The only thing I laugh,
Yeah.
do you know the original title that Ryan Reynolds had for this for the longest time?
No.
So he wanted to do it as a joke because he knew, but it was the serious title. It was not going to be called Deadpool and Wolverine. It was just going to be called Deadpool and Friend. They were not going to put Wolverines, but the studio's like, listen, we gotta put Wolverine.
You
They
got
kind of
it.
were like,
Yeah.
listen, they get the joke, they understand, but like, this is fucking Wolverine. But yeah,
It's a business.
He's like,
Yeah.
for the long, that's how the script was and everything. It was called Deadpool and Friend. Unless he's just trolling everyone, then fine, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, you do that, but I don't know all that. But he's told that story multiple times. But yeah, the studio, he's like, the studio came down, and was like, listen, we gotta put Wolverine in the title. It just makes more sense. So that's why I went from Deadpool and Friend to Deadpool and Wolverine, shit like that. But for the longest
I
time,
mean,
he wanted to call it Deadpool and Friend, and that was going to be like the inside joke with him and Wolverine throughout the movie.
it was just set up so perfectly in Deadpool 1. Like, it was like the dream collaboration, and it was like such an inside joke in the other two Deadpools. So the fact that it actually came to fruition and there was a movie and like Hugh Jackman signed on, dude, it was fucking perfect, man. Because he takes off his fucking mask in the first one and he's wearing a Hugh Jackman fucking mask that's like stapled to his fucking face with eye holes cut out. And I mean, the first Deadpool to me is just one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. It makes me piss my pants laughing every single time I watch it. A lot of that is Ryan Reynolds, just his delivery and everything. But the
Because he
first
gets it.
Deadpool is so
Yeah.
fucking good,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. He gets
So
it and he
fucking
gets the
funny.
character.
Oh, dude, he was perfect for Deadpool. Like now, it's like you can't. There is no other person that is Deadpool. It's Ryan Reynolds.
Just like there's no other person that's Wolverine. It's Hugh Jackman, who's done it for over 20 years.
Jesus
I
Christ,
know.
20 fucking years, man.
But to get off of movies and back to a subject that I spoiled earlier because I lost my train of thought, or
Oh
speaking
yeah,
about
what the
movies.
fuck is this one? Yeah.
Well, all right. So I saw this article, and this is going to lead into what we were actually going to talk about. But yeah, there is now Nick Cage has been hired to be John Madden in the new biopic. Now I don't know
What?
much about this. Yes, and I'm looking. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But someone brought up a point because if you know, like the movie Air was not about Michael Jordan. It was more about the sneak. I mean, it was not like his career, but more about the sneaker and how all that came about. How he went from Reebok to
Sure.
Nike. I don't know if this is true. Like they will reference his, and maybe this is wrong. And I've read a few things, but it might not just be about Madden's life, but it might be more about how the video game came about, how the Madden franchise, something kind of like what, so they might write, but yeah, Nick Cage is
Is there
actually playing
something?
John Madden. And I'm like,
Ay,
I
yeesh.
just don't see it. I mean, I don't know. And it's Nick Cage. He plays all these wacky roles and shit like that.
I'm
Um,
not like I don't have an interest in watching a John Madden movie.
Neither do I, but,
Nick Cage makes it interesting. When I saw the notes when you sent me this, I was like, "What?" I thought you were gonna talk about like some Dead by Daylight thing. Like if you told me John Madden was gonna be the next character on Dead by Daylight, I'd be like, maybe
I'm
I'll
in. I'm
play
playing.
it. Maybe I'll actually play it. Yeah, exactly. It's
That's a
like,
real
oh, John
life.
Madden's a
The
playable character.
Raiders are killing. You're like, oh shit.
It's a collaboration between fucking like
He,
Dead by
he gets
Daylight
the other three players
and
he's
Madden.
trying to play. Okay, you are going to do a post to the first generator. Get this done. Bang, you go deep to that one.
Yeah, I
You
would
do.
maybe think
I'll
about
take
playing
the.
Dead by Daylight.
You take the defense down.
Like I didn't understand why Nick Cage and John Madden were like in the same sentence. I
Yeah,
just
he's
really
playing
didn't
John Madden. To what
understand
extent? But yeah, he's definitely signed on. It's all it says is a Madden biopic, so not much has come out. But some people think it's
that.
not just going to be about his coaching career. It's going to be more kind of the late stuff and just. I don't know. It could be a mix of everything, but Nick Cage did not seem like someone that could play Madden to me. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean,
No,
sometimes you don't
I
see
just
things
don't
in the
care.
beginning, and there's that too. But I wanted to bring this up because NFL season, the preseason has started. I'm getting pumped.
Oh
You're getting
God, I
pumped.
know.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because I know last year, or not last year, but one of our first podcasts, you went on a rant about parlays and sports betting and you didn't
Yeah.
understand it. And I came up with something that we are going to do and hopefully do live once a week. But yeah,
Hey,
there's
look
a
at
past
us.
video. You'll see this thumbnail. This is Soto going on a rant about parlays and sport. We talk about sports betting apps, how it ruined conversations. And that was your thing. But I'm like,
Oh God,
and
I
I kind of,
know.
afterwards, I explained what a parlay really was. And now I get some people do take it to the extreme. Some people put way too much money into it. But I came up with this idea. And so hopefully, if we do this, our plan is to maybe, same day every week, if we can, half an hour to an hour, because not too much to talk about the NFL, this and that, but talk about betting our picks. But I am going to have Soto, pick two different kind of parlays every week, and we're just going to say, now I'm only going to put $1. Like I'm not spending $10, $100, blah blah blah. But we're going to see how he does throughout the season. I'm going to give him like a set.
It's a third of a movie rental.
But I've earned this money on DraftKings. Like this is free money for us. Like because they have all these free pools, and so it's been building up. So yes, but it's $1, and we could win something. And if we lose, it's only $1. But anyhow, every week it'll be two
Sure.
parlays,
Okay.
and I'll be like, I will give Soda some parameters. We'll pick one game, and be like, for example, will Patrick Holmes throw for 400 yards? You tell me yes or no. But also in that, we're gonna talk about some of the games and actually have sports conversations. It's not just going to be like his parlay pick. So that is one of the big ideas going forward. Hopefully we can get a set date for this, but we are definitely doing the parlay picks, and hopefully we'll do that in a couple weeks for our first one. But yes,
Are there like 14 leg parlays and shit? Like,
you
nothing
can
like
add.
that,
Well,
right?
that's the thing. Well, I might not go that high. The first week might be,
14.
simple. But you can keep adding, and that's how like the odds keep adding. So because you have to hit on all 14, but you can just do 3, 4. And you keep it same. So I'm going to do like one same game and one like almost you pick the winner's game. You'll see. But because that way I can have the app and I can keep. I'll just ask you questions. You tell me what you think, and at the end of the day, we'll see. Now, again, we are not betting a huge amount of money. We're literally throwing $1 bet, which means if Soto gets it right, we're probably only winning like $5, $6, $7. Who knows? Depends on how many legs they are. But yeah, some people do 10, 100, and that's how they get to like the 10,000. Like, well, I'll do $100 bet. If I hit all this, it's $15,000. I'm like, yeah, but you got to hit 20
Jesus.
fucking picks right. You hit 19, you lose. And so
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I don't, every now and then, like, I've thrown a dime like 10 leg parlay, but it's stupid. It's like, I don't know. You can get lucky, but that's it. But no, it'll probably be in the 3 to 5. Maybe once in a while we'll do a stupid, funny 10 pick parlay just to drive Soto crazy. But that's the idea. But hopefully, yeah, once a week we talk football, live and just get people going and just be like, we'll make some picks, make some predictions, see how the season's going. But speaking of which, let's talk about football then. You being a Pats fan, Patriots fan. What are your expectations for this year? Because
Oh God, dude, what? 2 and 14 a record? How many games are in a football season
right now,
nowadays?
17. I hate the 17. I wish it would have gone to 18. The even numbers work, but technically it's still a 17 game
Ew.
season. That fucks me up.
What the fuck happened to 16? Jesus
They went to
Christ.
17 2-3 years ago. Yeah, because they want
I think they're trying
money.
to go to 18 as well.
They
I think
will
they're
hit.
trying
They
to do
will hit
18.
18. They're going to get to 18 eventually, and they'll do like
It's
one or
too
two less
much, dude.
preseason games. I think that's what they'll do is cut like the preseason a little bit.
Well, it's like Monday, Thursday, Sunday is
Sunday,
all
Monday,
football.
Thursday.
And from a fucking fantasy standpoint, it's a pain in the fucking ass. Now, I will say I'm very happy I just did the ping pong balls in my league, and I ended up getting the second pick last night. So now it's like I have the second pick in the draft, which I probably will go with Tyreek. I'm not going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I don't know. There's too much of that situation.
Well,
And
that's assuming that the first pick does Christian McCaffrey.
If they don't, I'm going with Christian McCaffrey because
yes,
like, the fuck, man. Like that, I only have my league right now is one QB and 3 wide receivers and 1 running back.
Oh,
and then a tight end and a flex. So it's like it's way more important for me to have wide receivers because last year I was chasing wide receivers because I said, oh, let me just go. I had CMC as my first pick last year. I was the first overall pick, and you know, I had other good running backs, but then I was like, what am I going to do with these guys? Because I was like, oh, well, I can use them in flex, but I just found myself when I wasn't going with the value at wide receiver, I was chasing wide receiver all season. And that's 3 of my fucking spots, dude.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's huge. So
you also need
I'm
the
going to go with
backup, too.
Tyreek. So
yeah, no,
of course.
you
And
need
it's like,
to
buys and all that shit. So
well, like the league I do, it's 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, but 2 flex, and that's the big thing because there's no kicker. So so last year I had the 3rd pick, and so I'm like, okay. And now, mind you, people need to backtrack a year. So the first pick, Justin Jefferson, which at that time it was the correct call. I mean, obviously, I'm not going hindsight. He was the number 1 that year. You had to highlight, but he was there, a lot of people's number 1. Second pick, I expected the guy to go. He was going to go Christian McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill, and I said I was 3rd. I'm like, I will just pick up the scraps. I'm like, whichever one he doesn't choose, I'm going to choose the other. The guy in second picked Austin Eckler as his second pick. Now, Austin Eckler did have a decent season, but I was like, okay, because I knew I had Eckler, but that was especially he was injured that season. And so now the hard part was I had McCaffrey. I'm looking at McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill, and I'm like, I can't go wrong with either. And I it took me a little while because I'm like, McCaffrey's a safe bet because you never know with receivers, especially those kind of receivers. You never know. But I'm like, listen. My plan was the way the league has changed. I want to load up more in receivers because running backs have changed a little bit. So I picked Tyreek Hill, which obviously either or would have been they are the top 2. But I had to go with Tyreek Hill because I usually always go running back heavy, just because they do so much with the catch, points wise. But this year, that was the first year I'm like, I need to go more receivers because I always chase 1 or 2 receivers, but I always had the best running backs, or like my running backs have been solid. So yeah, I had to laugh because I'm like, and then the guy at 4th, he gets McCaffrey. He's like, well, this is a fucking easy decision, and so he instantly takes him. But yeah, the guy took Austin, and Eckler got injured. And he ended up bombing.
I don't know. Well, I'm in a half point PPR. So for me, I have to get off of that whole idea because old school me is like, yeah, running backs. But when you're getting points per reception, there's way more value in wide receivers. So I'm going wide receiver heavy, and then running backs get injured all the time.
Yeah.
And then there'll be some running back like on some shitty team with a shitty quarterback that you can just pick up mid-season, and hopefully you can get him on the waiver wire or trades or something like that. So that happens like all the time. I was just talking to my league manager last night about it. It's like you just never fucking know what's going to happen with these things. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, great pick. He could tear his ACL the first game.
Any of them can, though.
And then you're done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah,
you got to work your ass off to hopefully get something.
Yeah, exactly. So you just gotta I'm gonna draft for depth as much as I can and try to get a couple sleepers here and there. But to me, the best draft strategy has been, draft the value that you have when you're drafting. You can draft for need. I guess if quarterbacks start going in the 4th round, there's this kind of urge to get on it. But there's still gonna be quarterbacks when you need them.
Yeah.
So you can always get with quarterbacks, but wide receivers, man. This is gonna be a huge wide receiver, I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's gonna be a huge wide receiver season. I mean, that's where the game is nowadays.
Correct.
So.
And I'm in a full PPR league, so I get that. But also, you think about what the running back like a McCaffrey, how much he catches out of the backfield.
Exactly.
So that's why the value. It's tough. And so let me ask you a question. Because I've heard so many people. Fantasy experts, and I say that in quotes because basically I'm talking about friends or other people because everyone has their own opinion how to play, and I'm like, play the way you know, or draft. So like you just mentioned, I do agree with you, quarterback and tight end. I hate to be the first person like when Kelsey was at his top, I always, I never got taking a tight end in the first round. And I know Kelsey got his numbers, but at the same time, I felt like wasting that pick when you could build that wide receiver running back. But anyhow, so most people, what, QB, take their QB fifth round, fourth round, fifth round, would
Fourth
you say?
round, yeah.
So let's just say, you have your QB, he's your starting QB, you can pick whoever, in your brain, top 10, you're happy. Let's just say you got Josh Allen. Let's just say, Josh. But now you're getting to the later rounds, and now obviously everything's dart throw. Do you pick up a backup in the draft? Would you pick up a backup QB just in case? Would you pick a second QB? Or would you be like, fuck it, I'll worry about it later? In all honesty,
I usually do.
You do? Okay.
I usually pick up like a backup QB because again, you're gonna need him for the buy.
Yeah.
So I know in a mock draft that I had yesterday, I had Taysom Hill. I think I'm saying it right, but he's like designated as a QB tight end.
Yeah, so you can throw him in that tight end spot.
So yeah, so you
Then
can do
that
tight end, flex, and QB if you need to, and he's like gonna get points. It's like you don't need to be a functioning quarterback to actually be a quarterback, aka why I had Justin Fields. So Justin Fields still got me points, as shitty as he is.
Because he won,
as a quarterback.
the scrap the yards, which is
right. He's gonna grab points. He's gonna grab those rushing yards, and those things are pretty decent. So usually I'm counting on like anywhere from 15 points to 18 points for a quarterback, maybe plus 20 on a good day. But they're not like usually who I'm going for. It's not consistent. I just don't want my quarterback to shit the bed, essentially.
Well, it's funny you say that because last year I also had Fields, and I try not to draft Bears players the best I can. I think the only Bears players I've had in the past was like I've taken the Bears defense when they were dominant, even in the Mitchell Trubisky. Like they got their turn. I know a lot of people shit on them, but their defense up until like the last 2 or 3 years with Fields has still gotten their turnovers. But yeah, Fields, I looked at that time when I drafted him because people already drafted a lot of the picks, and I waited, and I'm like, all right, I just felt the value was there. But towards the end, with like one of my last 2 or 3 picks, I picked up as a back. Now, obviously, in hindsight, this sucked, but I picked up Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, okay, because now I can flip flop. I'm like, well, because Aaron Rodgers, you never know. I mean, obviously, fourth play, he was out for the season. So I'm like, well, I can drop this bum. But, he can have his hit or misses. But yeah, but then I remember showing people like, why would you take a second QB? Blah blah blah. But you're like, you need someone for your bye week. He's like, you can just randomly pick someone up. I'm like, and like you said, Fields is hit or miss. Fields got us a lot of points one week and then shit the next. But at that time, that's you knew what you were getting into with Fields. You're like, and it helped, and then I don't know, but. Yeah,
I try to have a backup. I mean, I don't have a backup defense, and I don't have a backup kicker, obviously.
Correct. You don't want to waste your bench on that. I'd rather build up your receivers.
I build up on wide receivers and running backs, correct. And then, because that way, because you never know, you might catch lightning in a bottle, and then that's your flex person, right? So,
correct.
The flex person could be a wide receiver, or it could be whoever. So, yeah, I mean, but a QB again, because you just don't want to be scrambling at the end of the season if like your QB goes down or something like that. It's just nice to have maybe 2 different options, to play matchups a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did, last year. I think last year, did I have Mac Jones? I feel like I did, but that was a mistake. I dropped his ass.
I feel like we talked about this, and he didn't last long. He didn't last long on a lot of people's things.
No. But I mean, I don't know. Again, it's a crapshoot. It'll keep me engaged with the season. I'm glad I have my weekends off because now Sundays are going to be like my football day, and now I have, because I ended up getting internet through Verizon, I have NFL Sunday Ticket, which if they can integrate the Yahoo Fantasy shit, that would be really cool. I don't know if that's happening this year or not, but now I'm actually going to watch the games, and which I have not done in, well, shit, I've been in cannabis for 2.5 years, so yeah, no, it's been a long time since I actually sat down and was like, okay, time for football. And actually enjoyed it because I've just been working on the weekends my whole fucking life.
Yeah, I know the Bears play the Pats this season.
Cool.
It's in Chicago.
We can have a little discussion about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see. I know we'll go week to week, and that game will pop up. But yeah, no, I'm excited. But I'm more excited to have you finally pick some parlays because I think the first time you hit on a parlay, and again, I know it's only dollar bets. It's not like we're breaking the bank. We're not going to win major money. But still, just be like, it adds a different kind of excitement, kind of like fantasy. But yes, to the people who do like 10, 15, I get it. Anything could happen. But I'm like, you know, I mean, those odds are just insane. So, but yeah, I think right after Labor Day, before the first game officially starts, we'll hopefully go live, talk about the season. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we get closer, our fantasy teams. Hopefully, I do have a fantasy team by then. I don't know what's going on with my work, but I might have to just find one online. But we'll definitely do some parlay picks. We're gonna see how Soto does with the parlay picks. It will be purely his choice, in
Mm-hmm.
my parameters. So that you know, but
Without no research at all.
no, I'm just
Just
gonna,
wing
like I
it.
said, I think the idea would, like, for example, the week one, I'm keeping it simple. I'm gonna pick one game. I don't know which yet, and I'm gonna pick like some things, like whichever QB. You know, do you think he's gonna throw two or more touchdowns? You know, give you that, and we'll do like 4 or 5. I don't want to go. You know, that's kind of good. Then I want to look at all the 1 o'clock games, and I'm already. And what you're going to do is, I haven't decided with spread or not, but probably with spread, you're going to pick the winner of just the 1 o'clock bundles. And then if you get them all
Wow, I
right,
don't even know how spread works, but sure,
well,
this
no,
will be fun.
like they said, Chicago +7. So that means Chicago gets 7 extra points. Or we can just pick the winners. Just if you do it with spread, you get a
No, I
little
mean,
bit more.
look, it'll be more. Just look. The
We're
less
gonna.
I know, the better.
Well, no, you're not going to know ahead of time, but I'm just, like, every week, I'm just going to pick something randomly, and we'll talk
Hmm.
about it, and you just pick what you feel in your gut for that week. And then, you know, like I said, I'm going to set it up, but you make the picks. Picks go in, and we'll be like,
Hmm.
okay, dollar bet. If he wins, you get 12.50, and we'll see how it goes to the end of the season. Who knows? Maybe we'll buy us a good PlayStation game at the end. We'll celebrate.
Hell yeah,
but,
absolutely. Maybe
but
I'll be
yeah,
able to afford Forspoken.
Forspoken.
Just $70 right
Forspoken.
now. I don't even understand why. I was like, I check on it because I'm like, if it's $20, I'm gonna buy it.
It was
Because you
down
know,
there at one time.
yeah, maybe 15. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I'm the same way too. I'm like, it's $20. It's like, what the fuck? What do you mean it's $20? Like, there are other things where I will make the $20 decision with no fucks given. AKA, I go to King Richard's Fair and I spend like 70 fucking dollars on food and drinks that are like way overpriced, and I'm like, this is fine.
You're
But
like,
it's
it's an
$20. I'm
experience.
like, no, that is where I draw the fucking line. I save that shit. That's my Wendy's like money right there. That's for Wendy's in my bank account. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from, because if I was a little kid and I had the money that I have now, I'd be like, oh my god. But I'm an adult. I'm like, nah, you never
You gotta
know.
save for emergencies or the reckless
What if I need
situation.
that $20? Like, what if I need it?
I need it at Wendy's, bro. I don't need it here for a video game,
Dude,
which will give me
hilarious.
100 hours of entertainment. Uh, all right. Speaking about food, Soto, you
Oh
brought up a
yeah,
question, and I don't even know how to
yeah.
answer. But go ahead, ask away with your question.
So I have been watching. I don't know if you are aware of this, but the dude from Barstool has like this like he has these videos where he goes around and has like pizza from local places and shit.
Mhm.
And I think it's called like One Bite. It's David Portnoy from Barstool. Hopefully, I'm saying his last name right. So, kind of a controversial guy. He's very divisive. Some people really hate him. I have no problem because I don't care. But I think that the one thing that brings people together, at least in my experience, is pizza. And so as I'm watching these videos, and I've been watching these videos for the last 2 days, because I have TikTok now. Thank you very much, Chad. I have
That's not my fault.
TikTok.
That's not my fault.
This is where I came across this, where I'm like, wait a second, locally eat pizza. So to me, I'm like, okay, what's my perfect? What do I like in a pizza? And so my question to you is, perfect slice. What are you looking for? What do you like when you eat a piece of pizza? Like, what is just like the best experiences you've had when you eat a slice of pizza? What are you looking for, and what are the red flags of a shitty pizza? Yes,
So
that's
this
what I
is
want to
hard
know.
because I. All right. I can give you more of the red flags and what a perfect slice is, because there might be a couple other things, because it's like you think toppings and things might have changed. And I know the whole deep dish, and like I love a good deep dish, but I don't know if that might be like the perfect, so the idea of perfect. But I will say one thing. All right. So if I'm looking at a perfect pizza, I guess for me, the easiest way is honestly, first of all, a simple pan pizza, and mainly just to be held easily. So the crust. I do like a
Hmm.
deep dish, and I do like stuffed crust and a couple other things. But with the crust, I do not.
Hmm.
It cannot be that crunchy, or nor, so there's what it can't, what or two, I don't know. Like if it's burnt, it's like, nope, not good, because
Burnt. That's
well,
what
I'm
the
looking.
flavor is. That's the best. That's so
Nope,
great. What are you
nope,
talking about,
nope,
burnt?
nope. It's got to be easily eaten. I can chew it. I do not want to be crunchy with the crust. I'm sorry, I can't fucking do
I
it.
got to be able to chew it. Like my bottom line is like I got to be able to eat this easily.
Crust is the worst. All right, dude. Crust is the worst part of the pizza. It honestly
What are
is.
you talking about?
What?
If it's done well, it's like it's the best part of the pizza. If it's done
It holds
well,
it together. Yeah. No.
what, you like a
It's a
floppy like
mix.
slice?
No, I'm just talking about like the outer edge. And I don't need floppy, but I don't need it fucking burnt and crispy either.
Like a good like char. You don't like a good char. Like when you look underneath a pie, right? Like you don't like seeing like a kind of a nice little like some char marks and shit like that. Like
No. This isn't
like
the
if it's been
barbecue.
in a
This is
high.
not like how I like to see a hamburger or chicken or anything. But I know this. You asked my personal opinion, and it's hard because I've had crust, which I feel like I'm biting into a brick. I'm like, this is fucking dumb, and I'm like,
Sure.
it
We've all done
sucks.
that. Yeah.
I mean, I know people are like, well, even bad pizza is good pizza. Well, certain parts of
Yeah.
a bad pizza is a good
Of course.
pizza.
Still
But yeah,
pizza.
I guess the perfect slice. I have to be able to hold it. Yes, no, I can't have it floppy where like the front just flops and everything falls out. That sucks. But
Or like when the cheese all comes off in one bite.
oh yeah, no, that I can't do it. But
Which,
then
by the way, have you ever had pizza down south? Have you ever gone other places outside of like Chicago and Minnesota? Have you ever had pizza in other parts of the United States?
I might have some in Florida, but nothing that's been memorable, good or bad. And this is just because it's been a long time. So I can't.
Pizza.
Well, no, I know, but there's not been like a pizza place where it's like, oh, that's just shit. Because I've been out to California, I've been there, so I know I've had pizza other places because you just go out and you eat it. But I don't know, so I'm not going to say I don't know too many of the different styles of pizza. Basically,
Well, you've been to Manhattan, right? Like New York slice. Did you have a New York slice when you were
Oh
there?
yeah, of course, and that was just New York cheese. Because it was cheap. We had this the first time me and the fam went to New York City near the hotel. It was a $5 large pizza. Cheese pizza, just cheese, and everything was perfect. It was, if anything was close because it was easy, it was quick. You pick it up. Nothing was, like I said, the cheese didn't come out. I could hold my piece of pizza. You get a paper plate. Nothing was burnt. They did it great. So yeah, I'm fine with New York
oil
pizza.
on top, like
no,
like
not at this
greasy,
one place. I've seen it other places. No, this place, it was basic cheese, but it was clean. There was nothing oily or anything like that. So it was a good pizza.
Love that.
And that to me, because everyone can debate about their toppings. And I know people. Half the people, well, no, but half the people will come out with me. I love pineapple. I used to love a good meat lovers, and I had to kind of cut down a lot of the.
Love pineapple?
I love pineapple on pizza.
Okay, all right. Here we are. We have peace in the Middle East. We can agree on this.
Yeah.
I also love pineapple.
Yeah.
Like on a pizza. I fall in the line of being like, there is nothing. First of all, I don't think that there are wrong toppings on a pizza. You may disagree with me, but I think that pizza is pizza. And if you like your pizza a certain way with certain toppings, I'm not going to judge you for it. How do you feel about that? Is there like
correct.
a topping you're like, fuck you?
No, because I've eaten pretty much every topping that I can think of. Outside the basic, even from like veggies, the mushrooms. I'm not talking about anything outrageous. You might hear. Well, no, because you hear some people like fish and this. I'm like, I don't know about. I will say one thing.
Anchovies are fish.
Okay, but I'm not talking about that. Anchovies here is not fish elsewhere in other countries. Okay, people don't come here and like, oh, I want some, which I love anchovies on a Caesar salad. Anyhow, but I'm just talking about. All right.
Ooh, interesting.
They're good. There's actually a place in Minnesota we used to go to, Buca's. I used to do it all the time. But anyhow, I'm fine with any toppings. I've eaten plenty of toppings. I think weirdly enough, the only thing that turns me away from a pizza. It's just because usually when I have a pizza, I'm not in the mood for it. I don't want anything fucking spicy. Like when I do Mexican, I don't mind spicy. But when I eat a pizza, so I don't do like any of the hot peppers. Again, this is me. Okay. I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. I don't, spice, and I'm not talking about spicy like pepperoni, like a little kick. I'm just talking what typically is a spicy shit. But
have you ever put hot sauce on a pizza?
No, I don't put I hate hot sauce. That's a different topic. I hate hot sauce. I hate it.
Jesus Christ.
I hate hot sauce. I just I
How
don't
can you
get
hate
it.
hot sauce?
Easy. I say I hate it. Hey, you just said you're not going to judge people on what they put on it. You can't judge people on what they don't put on it. But I know we talked about me and ketchup. I don't like hot sauce. I mean, even when I do salsa, I'm not a big fan of the medium salsa. I usually always go to mild. I'm not, but I don't mind a little spice. Like when I do, sometimes I've done burgers at places of jalapenos, I'm fine with it. Mexican, I'm fine with a little spice. But on my pizza, I don't know. It's just because when I want a pizza, I just don't want spicy.
So no, like hot honey on a pizza.
No, no. I hate.
What about like blue cheese on it, like a buffalo chicken
fuck
pizza?
that. Blue cheese is shit. I'm sorry, dude. I don't like blue cheese. I don't like
Sarah's
honey.
Gonna kill you on this one.
Oh, that's fine. That's
Sarah
fine.
loves blue cheese.
I hate blue cheese.
So blue cheese dressing, really?
I hate blue cheese. I know.
It's so fucking good.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I know, and I know my stepdad loved blue cheese. I know my daughter is with me. She, I know Jill doesn't like blue cheese.
I love blue cheese.
We just had this discussion about like, oh no, I, you want moldy cheese? That's fine. That's all you. More power to you. But I will not put blue cheese on anything. I'm sorry.
It's so
can't
fucking
do it.
good.
No, it's not.
Not even on your fucking buffalo wings, dude.
No, fuck that.
Come on, man.
No. If well, honestly, nowadays, I don't want any sauce with my buffalo wings. If it's done right, you don't need any blue cheese or ranch. If I do pick anything,
you buffalo wing elitist.
Well, I like that with most foods. Well, hold on. If you think about a steak, you have a greatly, you and Sarah are, cooking at home, and you buy this whatever great piece of steak.
I'm making steak tonight.
Great, not just normal, but you spent a little extra money. You bought the more expensive steaks. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Sure,
you just put that in your head. Would you want someone to put ketchup on it?
Well, not ketchup necessarily, no. But I've gone to fancy steak places where I've spent $72 on a filet mignon and got blue cheese crumble on it.
Well, that's crumble. I can almost forget that. I'm just talking. We're talking sauce, but crumble is something different.
Oh, like a blue
I still hate crumble.
dressing?
I hate blue cheese in general. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm not talking about you. If you put blue cheese dressing on that steak, I'm like, you're fucking wasting your money. Crumble, I can get more because that's a little bit more. Like, I don't know if you saw Jill's filet mignon. They have like a scallion on it, and you can decide. They actually gave her like a hollandaise horseradish sauce, which she hates hollandaise, but I tasted it and it was fucking amazing. Anyhow, blue cheese.
Like a fucking eggs Benedict kind of thing is what I just put hollandaise on. But anyway,
correct. But agree. That's what it's known for. But she hates hollandaise sauce, and I'm fine with it. And I love horseradish, but I can't do blue cheese. But anyhow, the perfect pizza. Yeah, just don't fall apart. Toppings wise, it's hard. Like but pineapple.
It's like a life philosophy right there. It's like just don't fall apart. That's all I ask for. Just don't fall apart. Like I'm open to other things, but just stay together.
Listen, if I'm having
two parents stay together, just stay together, mom and dad. Just stay together. That's all I ask. I don't ask for anything else. Just stay together. I'll tell you, I was not expecting any of this in this conversation. It's probably the most violent conversation we've had in a long time because I prefer, for me, I need a crunch, and I like my crust to be like a crust is part of the ecosystem of a pizza for me. For a pie, a crust is so part of it. The cheese and everything, a nice clean slice, a New York slice, something nice that you pick up. And it's just the cheese all stays together. There's a great cheese pool and all that. Like, I'm not talking about toppings, but the crust is such a huge part of the experience.
And that's why New York style is probably the best because you know what? There is no outer crust to a New York style. It's very thin. But and if you cook it right, it's I'm not talking about like having the whole crust just flop down. But if I have to crunch at it and it gets in between my teeth and I'm cutting my gums, fuck that shit. And I've had crust where I'm eating the crust and I'm just like, why? Like, if I have to get the ranch dip,
I agree.
Yes. But no, just it's simple. Like
I won't eat crust unless there's cheese inside. Just stay together.
Oh, I love stuffed crust pizza. I love cheese in the crust. That is good. But you asked the perfect. So if I had to choose one,
true.
It's like
I did ask.
I like a lot of pizzas. I know people shit on Domino's. I love Domino's because they know what they do and it's fine. And they don't burn our shit. Papa John's we've ordered from. Now Papa John's has a more doughier crust, so that's
yeah, I don't like doughy crust.
No, that's what if I'll eat the pizza, and if I can finish the crust, that's when I dip that in the sauce. I dip the crust in the sauce. That's about it. I like because I have to. Like especially at Papa John's, they have a garlic sauce which is fucking good though. I will admit
Well,
they
I'm
give you that.
sure,
They
dude.
give
Well,
you
like
like
Sarah hates bread. It's probably the whole thing where it's like, this is just bread. Why would I want to eat bread by itself? You know, and that's why I'm like, a good pie is gonna have a good crust to it. So, yeah, like, maybe not a lot of crust. I don't like a doughy crust. I like a well done pizza. Okay. I just like a pizza that's well done. I don't like my cheese to be undercooked. I don't like there
oh
to be a lot
great
of oil on there.
yeah that,
I like it to be a nice clean slice, like you were talking about in New York. You pick it up, you eat it. You're not dribbling grease on the side of your mouth. It's just overall, it's not complicated. I hate a sweet sauce. I'm not a sweet sauce guy. I know that beach pizza is a sweet sauce thing. It's not my vibe. It's not my thing. I don't do sweet sauce. I'm an old school classic pizza guy. I just want a good crust. I want it to be well done, and I just want it to be not floppy and crushable. It's got to be a crushable slice. To me, you have a piece of pizza that has nothing but humongous pieces of barbecue chicken on it. That's not a crushable slice to me. That is a just. I will probably have one slice, and I'm like, I'm good. I want to be able to at least crush 3 to 4 slices of pizza, which, by the way, I don't do. I'm sure you don't either, obviously, given your life. But that's what I look for in a pie. I look for it to be all together. Yeah, I guess that is. I agree with you. I need it to stick together, and it needs to be stable. That's what I'm looking for in my pizza. I want a stable relationship with my pizza. Just stay together.
don't leave mom and dad.
Don't leave. Just stay together. I'm not asking for much. I'll be better. Just stay together.
I'll be a better crust for you.
Oh my god.
What do
Oh
I get
god.
to on this? All right.
I don't know. I don't know, but I did not
no, I want a
expect getting
pizza.
your answers, which is perfect. That's I think the best thing. So Sarah just texted me. I do hate bread and bready pizza.
Too much dough. I can't do. I mean, and
I can't either. It's fine, and I don't want lettuce on my pizza either. Like, look,
who
I'm
puts
not.
lettuce
But I
on a
will
fucking
like,
pizza?
dude. There's like a pizza at California
Actually,
Pizza
you know
Kitchen.
what?
It's called like a BLT pizza. And it's
Oh,
like bacon, lettuce, tomato on
yeah,
a
no,
fucking pizza.
I put my mouth in the foot. There is one, like there is a place near us, Simon's. We haven't got. They did a Big Mac pizza, and that was fucking
I'm
amazing.
not.
It
I
was
just.
amazing. I can't explain it, but I was just
I
like,
don't know.
it's
I'd
been
have
so
to have
long.
a fork and a knife for that shit, dude.
No, you don't. It's it sounds worse than it is, but it's basically the crushed up hamburger, the Big Mac sauce on it, lettuce. But I have had lettuce now that I'm just talking it out. I'm like, yeah, I had it. It's in the right situation. Actually, the best. I will say this: the best pizza I've ever had.
What? Where?
No, well, no, I'm just talking about a slice. I'm getting to it. Don't worry. Is when
Okay. I'm
no,
like,
no,
I need to go here.
no, you can't. This is. I lived with my dad, and this is right above Illinois and Wisconsin, like over the border. Because so I technically lived in Wisconsin, but I always hate to tell people that. I'm like, literally, you could step 10 steps and you're in Illinois. That's how close over the border. But anyhow, so I was living with him, and I don't even know the name of the place. I don't know, much. Like remember, but this just came to me. There he had a Mexican taco pizza. Now I know taco pizzas have been done. A lot of places do it differently, and it depends on the place you go to. People love it, but this one place, they did it perfectly. Like I can't explain the way they crushed up the shell on top and the lettuce, but it is almost like you're eating without it being overbearing, like you said, a lot of toppings, but the way it was just a perfect bite and everything. It was like everything tasted like a taco. It was just a perfect piece of pizza. It was the best taco pizza I've ever had, or Mexican pizza. I know it's called both, but I don't know what they called it. I don't even know the name of the pizza, but every time we ordered there, I had it and I was happy. Like it was by far the best slice of pizza, with all the toppings because they did it perfectly. Again, like you said, you have too many toppings, or I know you said barbecue. You're not a fan. I don't mind barbecue chicken on my pizza if I'm in the mood for it. I'm
If
fine
I'm in
with
the mood for it, sure.
but I'm fine just getting a cheese pizza or a simple pizza and like, yep, I can crush this.
Me too.
Which we did when we went up to Fun Spot.
We sure did.
But anyhow, yeah. So this place, and it's just the way they did the tortilla chips, and I guess it's just like I said, I can't explain it, but it wasn't like over too many chips, but everything. It was a perfect bite, and it was almost like you had this small layer of a taco on top of your pizza, and it fucking worked. Because a lot of Mexican, like, while they're decent, none of them are perfect, and none of them are memorable. But
Mm.
this one place, and just the way they did it, it was fucking perfect. And yeah, I know, I was happy. I can't remember much because, mind you, that was like 25 years ago, and I mean, I can't remember what happened yesterday at half the time. So,
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Yeah, it's it's hard for me to describe. I've had some terrible pizzas in my life.
mhm.
I've had a lot of pizza in my life, but I've had some good ones too. And I know like when I bite into a pizza, I know when I'm like, okay, this is the shit. And some of the best pizza off the top of my head, I had a slice of pizza, cheese pizza in Philadelphia, and
Oh,
it was one
very
of those
good.
places that doesn't even have chairs. It just has like a bar stool, like a bar, like like basically like a shelf. So there's nowhere to place to sit down. So they give you this fucking like infant sized slice of cheese pizza. And back then it was like fucking $2.
Oh man.
And I remember it just being fucking amazing. The same shit that we talked about. Clean, dry, delicious, foldable, huge, um, just awesome fucking like piece of pizza. And I remember eating it being like, this is what I'm fucking talking about. No grease coming off the top, not a greasy pie. I don't like a juicy pie at all. And sometimes when you have ingredients, if they don't know how to do them right, for example, like I've had like, when I was vegetarian, I had like these veggie pies. And if you're using like frozen vegetables, the water gets into the crust and shit.
Hmm.
Um, and I can't deal with that because to me, once the crust integrity is compromised, I'm out on the pizza. And when I used to take business trips to Savannah, Georgia, I'll tell you right now, there's probably this one good pizza place that I went to in Savannah, but most of the pizza places were terrible. Um, and I ordered pizza to my hotel rooms, and it's like, you bite into the pizza, and all the toppings and the cheese just come out all like a landslide into your mouth, and then you're just left with floppy, undercooked dough underneath with a little bit of tomato sauce. That to me is like the fucking worst. So I appreciate East Coast pizza,
Hmm.
Northeast pizza. That's where it's at. Um, I want pizza right now, even though I can't have it. But it's just, yeah, watching these videos about pizza, I'm like, fuck, man, like, yeah, like what do I think is a good pie when I go there? It's like what's overhyped and what's not. And yeah, there's a couple places I'm going to go to around here that I'm going to be like, okay, let me see if this has a good pizza place. So
Oh my god. All right, I know we can keep talking about food, um, but we
I
probably
know,
shouldn't. Um,
I know.
but it does remind me of a place. And fuck, I'll tell the story real quick. We went to Philadelphia for our honeymoon, and we went back
Mm,
again in 2018, and that's part of the story I want to quickly tell. So yeah, we went for our honeymoon. Great. We did a lot of things, but in 2018 we took our kids. My sister was in town with my niece, and we, because we want to do some things again. But anyhow, so at the hotel we stayed at, it was great. They had a kitchen, but right across the street was this huge indoor market. And it was great because they had everything. So you want a pizza? You can get a pizza. Oh wait, you want Chinese? Well, right there's Chinese. You want to get a slab of meat, take it home. Like it had everything, and it was just like it was heaven because it's like no matter what you're in the mood for, and it was all because it's Philly, but it's like no matter what you're in the
hmm
mood for, you just go to that little thing. But we're this indoor market was just amazing in itself, and it's not why we didn't go to Philly to go there, but yeah, they had so much good food there. But um, so Soto, we're gonna get off of food for a second, maybe a minute or two.
It's
Let's
a
get
good
off.
idea.
Before we talk ourselves into ordering pizza. But for
It
the
might
longest,
happen. I might do it after this.
you do you. You've mentioned all right. You've told countless times that Back to the Future is your favorite, one of your favorite movies, if not your most favorite movie.
Oh, it's a
Um,
perfect movie.
there is a theory that I've always had about it, or about a certain character, that I always wanted to say, just never kind of had the right time. But I want to bring this up, um, especially when it comes to Doc Brown. Now I get it. He created. Now, mind you, I get it. It's a movie, but when you start thinking logically about things, to me, Doc Brown is one of the most careless characters in the history of film. And by that I mean this. And
History of movies.
I'm kind of exaggerating, kind of buttering that up a
Okay.
little bit. Just I'm having a little fun with it. But there's a few I've heard read a lot of things, but I want to focus just on one thing, just because I don't want to go too much in rants because of time. But he takes the DeLorean. We've seen the thing. Goes back in 1955. Einstein. We've seen all those. How time travel works in this universe. He's reckless because of the fact, if you think about this, he goes into the future. He does not know what the traffic's like. He doesn't know if people are going to be in the middle of the fucking road. He could, honest to God, kill somebody every time. And we kind of saw a little of that in Back to the Future too, when he was going the wrong way up in the air. But I'm like, I get it. It's a movie, and I think I'm doing this more just to poke fun at Soto. So, but there's been a lot of Doc Brown theories and a lot of Marty is dead theories. Read them if you can find them.
What?
But we'll get to that later. Yeah.
You just dropped that on me.
But I always laughed at the fact, like, he doesn't even know what's going on in, like, the time frame they're going to, because basically the way the DeLorean works is wherever they go in time, it's in that exact same place. So yeah, I just want to bring this up. I'm having fun with this. This is just a quick thought, but to me, Doc Brown is so careless because, yeah, he can go into the future and run over a fucking parade and kill hundreds of people because he doesn't know what's happening. But yet we all love him, and you think this is normal for a movie. So your thoughts, real quick, and I'll tell you the Marty is dead theory in a little bit, because we'll have a little time. You can't really disagree, but you're like, just have fun with it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that's ever been strange, and we've talked about this before, is just kind of like, how do they fucking know each other? Because you have a teenager who's hanging out with like this 60-year-old man, I think, and they're getting into adventures and shit. But yeah, like, of course he's fucking crazy. He came up with time machine after he fell off his toilet or some shit, and that's where he got the idea for the flux capacitor.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot that I give up in as far as like believability and everything.
I know.
It makes sense to me. It made sense to my 6-year-old brain, and yes, it's carried over to my 40s now. It's funny that you call him reckless, because he's the one that's constantly preaching about how they can't fuck with shit, and what it would do to the timeline and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I know.
I didn't put too much thought into it. I just, again, was always, their relationship is what always was like weird and stuck out to me.
And I don't know how that happened.
You know what I mean?
I know the backstory is, I think, and I could be wrong, they lived, at least, because I don't know if this is backstory or not, but like almost in the same road. Because like they kind of grew up, I say grew up, but lived near each other. But I know that Doc Brown, I say set his house on fire in quotes because there's that whole insurance thing, and that's how he got the money because that's why he lives out in his garage, because he had this huge thing and he got an insurance claim. I don't know how he and Marty became friends, but the Marty is dead theory is more just not that Marty is dead, but that he's died countless times. So I'm going to bring you to Back to the Future too. And there's other things here, but this is the one I can remember. So they're the hoverboard's in play, and they're getting that almanac back from Biff, and they're in that tunnel. So that whole scene. That's where I'm going to. Yeah. And then at the end of the tunnel, Doc throws down like that kite rope, which somehow, whatever, Marty goes up, saves the day, manure. That's whole thing.
Kite rope.
I don't, but that's what it is. I mean, I don't know how Marty held on to it.
It's a bunch of kites.
Well, no. I think it was tied. I thought at the end they tied a kite to it. I mean, but anyhow, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But the fact is, people are like, how did Doc know that they were going to come out at that moment? So the idea is Marty died so many times, and then he went back to just keep getting it right until it worked. Yeah. So and there's other things like that where Marty's, and again, it's just a fun take on it. But they're just like, Marty's died so many times in Doc's world. Just that he does it again and again.
From Doc's perspective. Yeah,
Doc's perspective, he's lost Marty. But that's how because if you look at it, again, logically, he didn't know how fast because Biff starts speeding up. He didn't know when they're coming out. That rope comes down right when Marty needed it the most, right when they cross. Yeah. But he was not in that tunnel, so how did he know that was the time? Again, it's 80s movie, it happens. But it's the idea that it didn't happen. Marty died. He went back, tried again, and just until he got the timing right. So maybe it was just one Marty. Maybe
like
Doc what? Yeah, exactly.
It's like the Groundhog Day theory. Yeah, it's like Bill Murray just eventually memorizes the town, and then he's able to like figure out when everything happens. And he's lived no one knows how many days, but he's lived so many fucking days that he just knows the whole town. Which, by the way, fun fact trivia, that was like the last time that Bill Murray and the guy who plays Egon, who
Harold
directed that
Ramis.
movie. It's the last time they worked together.
Yeah.
Because Bill Murray was such an asshole that he wouldn't even like talk to people, and then he hired an assistant that was deaf, that he couldn't communicate with, and that assistant could barely communicate with anybody, and like Harold Ramis was like, I'm not talking to you for the next 20 fucking years, because like that's how much of an asshole Bill Murray was in that situation. I read that and I was like, that's fucking wild, dude. That Bill Murray's like, yeah, no, talk to my assistant, and nobody knew how to talk to his assistant at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, dude, it's plausible, very
I
plausible.
know it's just fun, and just try to bring it back. Pokes. We always have fun with some movie content, stuff like that. But,
Of course, one of my favorite movies.
But I think that's going to be it for this podcast. We have been on for a very long time. But we've learned some stuff about each other. I know. I don't know how long it's been, but
I think pizza. That was the thing. That was the one right there. That's some tense moments.
Well, everyone's got to have the right pizza. So we're gonna. Everyone has their opinions to what a perfect pizza is, and I'm sure we'll hear about it in the comments. People can be like, "Well, this is the best pizza. This is the best pizza." That's fine. Whatever you're happy with. We have our opinions. You have yours, and everyone can be right. So.
I mean, all I know right now is that I want pizza. That's the one reality that I can, and I can't have it because I have dinner planned tonight. And if I'm going to have dinner, I don't think I can just fuck it up with eating a large cheese pizza right now. Because at our age, we just can't be doing that.
No, not a whole pizza, no. A few slices, yes, but a whole pizza, no.
Whole pizza, god damn, those days are gone.
I don't, I know I've eaten a lot back in, I still can technically eat a lot when I'm in the mood, but I know there's been days, especially with drinking, but I don't honestly think I've eaten a whole pizza in one sitting.
In your whole life?
I know, I'm trying to, I could, I honestly, God, I'm not talking about one of those, all right, not counting frozen pizzas. Because I know I've crushed a full frozen pizza now, that you could roll up in like a that you could roll up like a burrito and eat it, one.
Yes.
But so I know I've crushed a whole frozen pizza, like a Tony's pizza or Totino's, stuff like that. Which that's not even the size of a DiGiorno's or anything like that. But
no,
so
those are like cookies.
Yes, but a little bit more, because I know they have like those little personal ones. So, but I'm just trying to think, and I don't think maybe I did, and I just don't remember. But I think I don't think I've done a whole pizza outside of a frozen pizza. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just like, yeah, I can do, but I don't know.
Frozen pizza, dude, easy.
Yeah, that is
like
definitely
an actual,
easy.
Like an 18-inch pie. That's asking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I could go for like a nice piece of, like, there used to be this one called Mr. Pink, and it was like a vodka sauce pizza. I had this in Philly as well. Actually, now I think about it, I've had a lot of really good pizza experiences in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia has good food. They do.
Yeah, dude. But like a pizza with a vodka sauce, dude. I'm a huge fan of vodka sauce, and you can tell that I want lunch right now. I haven't eaten yet, so.
Yeah.
We'll turn this to a pizza podcast before we know it.
Food podcast. We're going to have a sports podcast, at least through the NFL season. We'll be talking more wrestling because we just had our WrestleMania 1 talk, and we will get to WrestleMania 2, so who knows how many more of those are going to happen.
I was watching it yesterday, man. Yeah, it's good shit, man. It's good shit.
Yeah, no, I'll watch it a little before we get ready so I can kind of prepare myself more for it. I like to have it. I like to have things fresh in my mind. But anyhow, that is it for our podcast. If you stayed till the end, greatly appreciate you. We had a lot of topics today, from sports to pizzas to Bikeriders. We're gonna watch some new movies too. Not as much as our shitty movies, but we gotta get ready for the spooky season as well.
We definitely specialize in shitty movies.
That's what we do. So we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, no, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us, and until next time. Go get a pizza, Soto. Do it tomorrow. Go get a pizza.
You know what? I will.
You will. Let's do it.
I will.